Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Seattle here is Friday morning, and I'm freaking out because I'm very, very happy that the Raptors players are hanging around in Toronto a lot right now. I mean, their season ended less than a month ago, right? And they took a week off. A lot of them, some of them went to Asia. With Scotty and Jonathan went to Asia, to Philippines and Thailand, and had a vacation. Some people went home for a little while, but apparently a lot of the Raptors are in Toronto this week working at OVO Center. We saw a bunch of them at the Leaf game on the first game of the second round against the Florida Panthers. We saw Jonathan Mobo, AJ Lawson, Garrett Temple, Jamal Shed, Emmanuel Quickly, Ulrich Shamshay, Jacoby Walter. That's a huge chunk of our roster that was at the Leafs game on Tuesday, all together, sitting in a box, watching the game together. That's cool. The weather is nice, and there's lots to do in Toronto. And, well, it shows a dedication with our roster right now that's more than any other roster in the history of the Raptors. I'm not lying. Seriously. Usually NBA players get done with the NBA season. They can't wait to get to their own time. Away from the players, away from the team, away from the whole thing, the rigmarole of the NBA. They can't wait to get home and sit at home with, their family members and catch up and, go see people and be around places that are familiar for them. But no, these guys are so excited about the future with the Raptors, about developing and getting better on the Raptors that they don't want to stop. They're here working at OVO Center. At OVO Center. And that's what I'm saying. There's signs that a lot of these Raptors are in town right now, just hanging out. Yesterday, I saw pictures posted by Jacoby Walter on Instagram, and I said, that looks like Regent Park. I was like, is Jacoby in Regent Park? I even said this on the Instagram stories yesterday. It looks like Jacoby's downtown in Toronto. And, well, it was confirmed he was. Yeah, he was downtown in Toronto with his short haircut, walking around, taking pictures of himself in the urban atmosphere of Toronto. And I specifically think he was around Regent Park, where they've upgraded and changed a lot of that area with new buildings. So, yeah, what's Jacoby doing at Regent Park? Taking pictures, walking around downtown. Certain two-way or a certain 10-day contract, certain tall player from Florida posted on Instagram yesterday a picture of the Princess of Wales gates at Exhibition Place downtown Toronto, which made me think, well, if you're at Exhibition Place and you're a Raptor, that means you went to OVO Center and you've been working out. And that center is Colin Castleton. So Colin Castleton checking in on Instagram yesterday. He's right downtown in Toronto, putting in work at OVO in the offseason. I'm telling you, these guys are dedicated to getting better as a group, to getting better individually on their own. And it's going to show. I'm telling you right now, it's going to show. I've known a lot of different Raptors rosters over the years that have loved being Raptors, and they're very, very loyal, and they love working for this team. And I've never seen a team under any other coach that has been so committed to working in the offseason and doing so much together in the offseason and being here in Toronto in the offseason. I think that's a testament to Darko Rajakovic and his family atmosphere of, how he's doing this with the team, and the team trusts him. The team wants to eat up more and more instruction and getting better underneath him. I think it also is a testament to Darko Rajakovic, his organization, as far as organizing himself and what he expects and the goals each individual on the team should have, and telling them what they need to work on. It's real easy if you have a guideline and an outline to say, this is what you need to do, Scotty. And boom. All right, Darko, let me go do it. This I think it's a lot of that. I think it's Darko in some cases. The reason why these guys are lingering around Toronto, being around so much, is because, like I said, they see the future here in Toronto and they want to run to it. And that means working hard in the off season, doing the things that the organization and the coach want them to do. And it's just an awesome thing. That kind of commitment, it makes me feel good. Because listen, we could go way back to the different eras of the Raptors, our 30th anniversary season this past year. And you could look at the early expansion years. Those guys didn't have any ties to us. The team was a joke. The team was an expansion team. They were losing a whole lot. And as soon as Damon Stoudemire era, Marcus Camby era, John Wallace era, those guys were out the door and out of the city as soon as that season was over. And you'd be lucky to see them back in Toronto by the time training camp came around. Some of them may come late because they're like, oh, I'm going to put it off. I'm coming to training camp late. Sorry, guys. You didn't see them from April all the way till September, October. I'm telling you, this is true. This is a true thing. It's over time that more players kind of got into being around Toronto in the summer. I think Amir Johnson's a great example of a guy who never left and wanted to hang out in Toronto in the offseason when he was a Raptor. There were certain guys that were like that, but let's not get it twisted. Even during the heyday of the early playoffs for the Raptors with Vince Carter, Charles Oakley, Muggsy Bogues, Del Curry, Kevin Willis, Antonio Davis, those guys were getting the hell out of town too when the season was over. They were getting the hell out of Toronto. They were not around our city in the summer. These guys, you think Vince Carter was hanging around in Toronto in the summer? No, he wasn't, man. He went back down to the States, to Florida, and hung around down in the States and did things around the States. This is a big difference. Even we could go to our championship core and talk about Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol, Kyle Lowry, Kawhi Leonard, and all those guys. They didn't stay in town like this. No, they didn't. I would tell you even Fred and those kind of people, they weren't hanging around in Toronto the whole time of the offseason either. Fred, Pascal, maybe Pascal a little bit more. Pascal hung out, but OG didn't. I'll bet you OG took off. I'll bet you Fred took off. I'm telling you, this is special. This current Raptors roster hanging around in Toronto so much in the offseason. They did last year too. They're doing it again this year. Is special. And it's indicative of the commitment that our players are to our team. And that's a good sign too, because, you can have different levels of commitment from NBA players as far as how much they care. Zion Williamson, Kyle Kuzma. And, you could have people that show up, get the checks and do everything that they have to do, but anything that's not mandatory that they don't have to do, they don't. And they just kind of go and do their own thing. Levels of commitment matter. And especially with this new salary cap structure, it's not just about being healthy. It's not just about being good. It's also about, are you going to be present and accounted for? And you're going to be very, very eager to get better and better and progress as a player. In some ways, it's not going to be good enough to be the tallest, the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, and all this kind of stuff in the NBA at a certain point. Character is going to matter more and more in the NBA going forward, because what we're finding in these playoffs is that character is what it gets built in the adversity of the playoffs, the physicality, and the failure and the success of the playoffs. And in some ways, it's something that was always true about the NBA, that the top team will get to the top with the certain character, but it's even more so because you can't frivolously spend in your salary cap and waste and have an extra all-star Hall of Famer who's sitting on the bench, because he'll eat up your salary cap and he'll screw your team up, So the people really got to be smart with how they're constructing their rosters, GMs around the league at this point. The game has gotten tougher in some ways for the front offices. So in some ways, how do you ensure that your team will be successful with a tougher environment to build a good team in the NBA with a salary cap? You can't miss. You got to get really high character guys. You got to get people like our young Raptors that are committed to hanging around in the GTA and work in the offseason. I'm not saying they're going to be here this whole entire offseason, but them being here within a month of the season ending with San Antonio game that we had, still coming back and being around Toronto right now and showing that commitment, that it's a big deal, guys. Let's just put it that way. It's a big deal. I don't even know if all 30 teams get any kind of offseason activity with their players coming together and coming to the city where they play and doing this kind of stuff. You think the Pelicans have people coming back to New Orleans and working out and doing workouts together right now? I don't think so. I think the Pelicans are probably on vacation and split up and all over the country, all over the place, all over the world. Raptors, a good amount of them are here in Toronto still working with each other at the OVO Center and putting in work already as a team in chemistry. That's what I'm saying. This is a special commitment. This is their off time. This isn't the time where they have to be here. This isn't mandatory. They have the option. And a lot of these guys are making the option to come and be better and show a commitment like this. In some ways, it's a smart thing to do. It shows a leg up to Masai and Bobby and say, you know what, we need to keep more consideration on so-and-so young player because, man, they were around this whole summer and they really put in work and they showed a true commitment to making themselves better and helping the Raptors be better too. You know, that's what I'm saying right here. That's why this is special. That's why I'm freaking out about this, because these players really do love being Raptors. They believe in the vision and the goals of Masai Ujiri and Darko Rajakovic, and they are ready to get going. Can't wait. They're doing it right now because they can't wait. And that's a fantastic thing. We got those vibes from the last Open Gym episode. All the players saying, we can't wait for next season. We can't wait for next season. We can't wait to see what's going to happen next season. Yeah, they can't. And that's why they're here at OVO Center putting in work right now. Right now. I'll bet you there's some of them right now as I'm speaking right now at the OVO Center putting up shots, getting that goofy-ass NOAA system to analyze their shot. You know, they're putting in the weight training. They're putting in the time with Jim Sand. They're doing the things that'll get them better for next year, working on their left hand, Jamal Shed. That's right. That's right. So I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them for being here for this. Seriously, I'm proud of them for being here for this. Let's check in with the chat. We got all our normal stuff. We got the straight goods on Canadian goods, classic card, Instagram stories. And we have to analyze one of these WNBA teams from one of our league and see if Trevor and G can give us a chime in on somebody's WNBA roster. I like this new segment, WNBA roster analysis by Commissioner Fun Trevor J. I love it. I love it. All right, let's see what his words of wisdom are. First thing in, the Commissioner Fun. Not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path. Most people quit when it gets hard. That's where you separate yourself and keep going. Boom. That's like a 2-for-1 right there. Yeah, I've heard that one about storms not necessarily being bad because they're clearing your path and maybe clearing some people or things out of the way that just aren't good for you or in your way. Yeah, I've heard that one before. That one I've heard before. Sometimes not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path. Clear you a path. Yeah, I like that. And the other one you're saying is most people quit when it gets hard. This one's really interesting here. Because listen, anything that's worthwhile sometimes has to be hard. Anything that's worthwhile sometimes has to take time. And if you're dedicated and you show a grind of going towards your goals, like it says right here, some people fall out. Some people won't have the testament to go forward and do what they want to do, that they really, really, really want it. Some people don't want it that bad and they will drop out. You may want it more. And that's where you go and you get going. Keep going. That's right. I like that, Trevor. I like that. Good words of wisdom today. Trevor's saying, I'm looking forward to the Pacers going up 3-0 on the Cavs tonight. Well, let me give you some insider information on this game 3. Cleveland at Indiana Pacers tonight, down to 0-2 to the Pacers in Siakam. Well, the ref crew tonight is very, very good for the Pacers. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, looking at the ref crew this morning already, and they got the crew chief is Mark Davis. Vince Carter lookalike Mark Davis is the crew chief. He favors the Indiana Pacers. Josh Tiven is the referee. Josh Tiven heavily favors the Indiana Pacers. He has a really bad record with the Cavs. And then Bill Kennedy, the karaoke king, is the third ref. And guess what? He favors the Pacers too. So not only do the Pacers have home court, they're up 2-0. All three of the refs statistically favor them tonight. So what you're saying right here is very, very good to predict. Although, I think that what's happened with this NBA playoff is maybe Adam Silver heard about the script writing allegations. In some ways he's like, y'all think that we're manipulating games? Well, let's just make the games as chaotic as possible and crazy and all this kind of stuff happening. And y'all will be like, yeah, okay, maybe they're not manipulating games because these games are going crazy right now. Comeback victories by 1 point. The Celtics are not getting script written to win. The Lakers are already out. There's some evidence here that maybe Adam Silver's heard the people saying and the murmurs. It's like, well, he sent Luka to LA. He's obviously script writing. Well, maybe Adam Silver's like, no, referees, we're not going to do anything weird this year. We're going to call it as much down the middle as possible. Let the best team win. And I don't care if it's a small market or a big market. Do not try and favor the big markets in the matchups. Just let the teams play, and whoever's going to win is going to win. That's what Adam Silver's doing this year. I'm all for it because these playoffs have been badass. These playoffs have been surprising. These playoffs have had very exciting comebacks and very close games. And in fact, some of y'all have been saying it, and I've heard it other places. This has been one of the best playoff seasons in a long time in NBA history. And I think it partly is because we are not seeing script writing overtly happen. I don't see it. I don't think anything's happening weird right at this point. I think the NBA is on the up and up all of a sudden. Sure, there was script writing with Sacramento and the Lakers with Shaq and Chris Webber way back in 2005. Sure, there's been script writing at different times in this NBA's career. But I think at some point, Adam Silver's like listening and getting the feedback from the fans. And he's like, you know what? They're right. We need to try and make this more look like a real competition again. So you know what, guys? Let's just do it the way we're supposed to. Just call the game as you are, referees, and no favor. Don't try and manipulate storylines because we don't necessarily care about LeBron and Bronny. We don't necessarily care about Steph Curry and Draymond Green going for another title this year. Let's just let the best team win. Let the best team win. Let those teams go out in the playoffs and play these games, and the referees will not decide stupid shit. They will allow the teams to decide it on the court, and you the fans will watch it and you'll see it and be like, holy crap, maybe they aren't manipulating the games. Because I get that feeling right now, and I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Trucker Kaz is here. Good morning, Trucker Kaz. Good morning to you, sir. The other game tonight is Oklahoma City at Denver, game 3. Of course, it's evened up 1-1 at this point. Oklahoma City with a crazy game the last game, like with plus 51 for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Well, they got James Capers Jr. as the crew chief tonight. He favors the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then Ben Taylor's the referee. He favors the Nuggets. And umpire is Ray Acosta, and he favors the Nuggets. So the crew chief favors the Thunder in Denver in game 3. And Ben Taylor and Ray Acosta favor the Nuggets, the home team, tonight. Eric Dalen is the alternate. So, yeah, in some ways it's like that'll be an interesting game. We'll have to see if the Nuggets can bounce back or if the Thunder are going to show that dominance they showed in the last game. They really, truly were dominating the Denver Nuggets in the last game. So we'll see in game 3 what goes on there. Yeah, James is here. Good to see you, James. We took a look at your fantasy team. We'll have to figure out who we're going to look at today. James is saying Raptors fans are debating we should have kept Pascal and OG. What do you think? James, I've actually answered this like 2 or 3 times in the last 2 weeks, and I'll stand on what I said. I think I even said this yesterday. The time with these guys were done. Everything, has its expiration and kind of comes to an end. And I've gone over this pretty extensively. That once again, Siakam and Fred came to our team as the bench mob. They won a G League championship. They had a championship with the Raptors early in their careers. Within like the first 4 years of their career, they won a championship. And that rise and being around DeMar and Kyle and Kawhi and Serge and Mark, that was such an easy time for them. They played on this team and they learned and they were going to take over afterwards. And they did have the intention to be the next nucleus after Kawhi and Kyle and Mark and all that. But it didn't really work. They had a lot of talent, but together they weren't exactly the right fit to get the next level. And that's the things that we're kind of spinning our wheels. The rookie year, Scotty, and then when we lost to Chicago in the play-in, it was kind of like, you know what, Nick Nurse has killed this team with his weirdness on the down low. In some ways, you can blame Nick Nurse for the reason why these guys aren't on our team anymore. You seriously can, because we stifled our development in the years of Nick Nurse. We got really good development from Casey. That's where we got the bench mob. And then the development went down the tubes once Nick Nurse became our coach. For 5 years, we didn't really get good development. So no young players were coming up underneath Fred and Pascal and OG to help supplement them underneath. Malachi Flynn ain't cutting it. No, he ain't. And, they couldn't get to the levels of success that they had with Kyle and DeMar as their leaders, or when the year we had Kawhi. And we went to Tampa. And can you imagine, James, going on that roller coaster of emotions, being at the highs of winning a championship in 2019, to a pandemic, to having to play in another arena in another country, in a state of Florida, at Amalie Arena in Tampa for a season? Can you imagine how much that changed things in their minds and how much that was a drop? Raptors fans need to look at this realistically. They need to stop looking at things like little children. like little children. That's what they do. They look at things like little children. Oh, Giannis, shiny toy. I want him on my team no matter what. Is this realistic? Does this work? No. And this is why I say, once again, little baby Raptor fans are saying, why do we have Fred and OG and Pascal still? Y'all are children, is what I'm going to say right now, because you're not looking at this in an adult way. This is the way this works, is that you can't have everything exactly right all the time. It's not perfect utopia. And the things that happen with those guys, they're amazing, brilliant Raptors. And I'll love them forever. They're champions. And two of them are on my all-time greatest four Raptors, Pascal and Fred. But the time was up. The time was expired. Let it go, Raptors Nation. Let it go. Who cares if Fred's doing good in the playoffs with the Houston Rockets and did this? Who cares if Pascal's going to play tonight for the Pacers and hopefully go up 3-0 over there? Who cares if OG's running around for a Knicks in a Knicks uniform now? Time changes. Things change. Let go of this shit, Raptors fans. You're idiots for not letting go of this. Seriously, we have a new future. We have our own players now. We cannot just collect players forever, over and over again, perpetually, and just collect them. We can't have a 100-man roster, y'all. We can't have a 100-man roster, Raptors Nation. So what do you think we get Fred and Pascal and OG still and all the money in the world that Larry Tannenbaum has? Oh, we could pay these guys all $40 million and keep them all in the... No, the salary cap don't work like this, you children. You Raptors Nation children. The salary cap don't work like this, you idiots. So everybody who's talking about, oh, we should still have this and this, it's not realistic. It wasn't going to happen. Their time had come. Time to move on. Fred and Pascal, very openly public, James. I've said this a couple times this week. They've done interviews in the last year saying that things were broken in Toronto and they had to move on because the feelings were different than they were in the early part when they're younger and they're winning. And they went through bad losing and Nick Nurse being a gaslighter as a coach. And it ruined things. It was like now time to change the scenery. And that's natural in the NBA. People move from team to team. I don't understand why Raptors fans can't let go. Seriously, are Dallas Mavericks fans going to continue to go for the next couple of years? We should have kept Luka. We should have kept Luka. Well, damn right you should have. But that was not what happened. And you got to just accept the truth of the reality of the world. That y'all don't got Luka no more. This isn't even like that. Because this wasn't a fuck up when we lost our players that we're talking about right now. This is just Raptors fans being immature and stupid and being like, I wish we kept them. I wish we kept them. There was no realistic way to keep them. It wasn't. We had to make room for Scotty to be the center of the universe for the Raptors, and he is now. And this is the right decision. I stand by it. During the whole period where we were talking about what are we going to do? We want to keep Siakam. We want to keep Siakam. I would love to keep Siakam with this, but Masai and Bobby, I trust them. They said this is not going to be able to happen. Siakam's going to be a certain bracket of money, a certain place on a roster, and in some ways he isn't part of the future. So let him go. Let him go, y'all. Seriously. I love Siakam too. He'll always be a great Raptor. He'll be one of my top 4 Raptors forever, unless somebody else comes up and takes his spot. But for the most part, he's one of the top 4 Raptors in my book because of his history and what he's done with our team. And we can't take that away from him. And we won't take that away from us either. But y'all need to stop this. Seriously. It's immature. The people who are saying this crap, in some ways, it's immature. Seriously. OG needed to go. Y'all can look at OG and do what he's doing on the Knicks right now and be like, oh, I wish he was on the Raptors still. Okay, go ahead and say that. It doesn't matter. We got Scott. Scott's going to be OG now. Scott is ready to be OG. Scott wants to be OG. Scott wants to take Nikola. Scott wants to play Trae Young. Scott wants to play any kind of player in this league as the guy who's going to shut him down. It would have been nice to have OG with Scott, but OG passed some stuff to Scott before he left. He gave him some trade secrets. He's like, yeah, Scotty, if you want to be like me and give people OG-itis, well, you could have your own malady. Why don't you call it Scotty fever? Yeah, you could give them the Scotty fever. Give them the Scotty fever. Yeah, it's like scarlet fever, but it's Scotty fever, and it comes in Raptor red. That's right. It's like, look, man, we had a guy who gave out OG-itis, and he was great. He was on our team. And this is the other thing. I said this week. People trying to say he got that much better on the Knicks than he was on the Raptors. Bullshit. Bullshit. I'm going to say this right now. Everybody's saying that, he made an offensive leap on the Knicks. That's bullshit. I went and looked at the stats because everybody been talking about this. I went to OG's basketball reference page, and I referenced everything about his career with the Raptors and with the Knicks since. And his stats did not, they went up. They did. They went up. But the reason why they went up, I'm going to tell you exactly the 2 reasons why his stats went up. He got more minutes per game. And that's partly Thibodeau and his style of overplaying his starters. That part of the reason why OG's production is up is just simply because he's getting like 3 or 4 more minutes a game on average than he did when he was on the Raptors. The second reason why his stats have gone up is OG's shooting better now than he did when he was on the Raptors. He's not shooting that much more than he did when he was on the Raptors. In fact, in 2022, OG Anunoby averaged 17 points a game for the Raptors, and it was very similar to what he's doing right now. Very, very similar stats. Very, very similar stat outlines and stuff. Sure, he may have hit his high water mark of 40 in the Knicks jersey in the last year or so, but he was getting to 39, 36 on the Raptors 2 or 3 years ago too. I think everybody's saying that OG made a huge leap on the Knicks is bullshit. It's just that you got a huge leap of seeing him more and understanding who the hell he was. He was doing this shit on the Raptors. The last 2 years he was on our team, he had stepped up and been more of a main option. Maybe a second or third option after Siakam. But he was getting those kind of comparable stats. And I looked at it and I was like, you know what? The only thing that made him uptick everything is he's shooting a little bit better from field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and even free throw percentage. That OG's free throw percentage was up a few percentage points this year. Well, that's an increase in scoring right there. So he got better as a player for shooting wise, and he's getting more minutes. That's why his stats look like they're more. In some ways, he's not that much better than he was on the Raptors. It's an optical illusion. And Knicks fans want to just tout and say, this is a victory. OG's so much better on the Knicks than he was on the Raptors. It's not true. He's not that much better. He's more experienced. He has more time. He may be a little stronger because he's a little older. You know, those kind of things, sure. But it's not a huge leap like everybody's trying to say and then be like, oh, he got so much better on the Knicks after he left the Raptors. It's not true. You got to go look at the stats, and you got to watch the games like I did. If you did not watch OG on the Raptors regularly for most of his career, you do not have an opinion on this, Knicks Nation, because y'all didn't pay attention to him before. You don't know what he was doing on the Raptors before this. So I totally killed this storyline that everybody's saying that he got so much better since he went to New York. It's just that y'all see him more. He's got more exposure. The Knicks get played on TV in the States. You could have seen OG doing this shit in Toronto a couple years ago if y'all had been showing him, is what I'm going to say about this. So, yeah, that's what I got to say about this. James, this is a sore subject to me. I don't understand why people are still bringing this up. I'm sick of it. Just because these guys are on TV, okay, little kids. Oh, I see Pascal plays so good. OG's so good. Why aren't on our team no more? Okay, temper tantrum. You sorry little toddlers. Come on, let's have a mature mentality about this team and understand that Bobby Webster lives on the moon and you don't. He has to live on the moon as a GM in the NBA. He knows all the rules of the GMing and what is possible and what's real and what is not possible. And children that want all the players in the world on our team to stay here forever, it's not possible. I'm sorry, children. You can't go live in Candyland and eat like licorice trees and lollipop flowers. I'm sorry, you can't. There's no Candyland board game, okay? It's not a real place, children. So it's like everybody, oh, we should have kept Fred. We should have kept Pascal. Why are you upset about this? Why are you talking about this? Why aren't you talking about RJ Barrett? Why aren't you talking about Brandon Ingram? Why aren't you talking about Jacoby Walter? Seriously, get in the present. Let go of the past, Raptors Nation, and your bullshit. Talking about Siakam this, Anunoby that. Let go of it. You should be proud and happy that players that were drafted by Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster, that were such badasses, they continue to reverberate as badasses in this league, that they make us look good because they are good on other teams still. Norman Powell, Fred VanVleet. They make us look good because their continued success, even beyond us, makes us look good. You know, other players can go from other teams and go other places like Drew Holiday. He makes Milwaukee Bucks and his path before look good as he continues to do well on the Boston Celtics. Derek White, he makes the San Antonio Spurs look good. That's what I'm saying. I'd rather have players coming from our team, going to other places, being successful, making Masai Ujiri look good for drafting them originally, than having busts. Malachi Flynn on Austin Spurs, first team G League. You know, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, can we get this success and this victory just being like, you know what? They were on our team. We love them. They're always going to be valued alumni, and they make us look good to this day. That's the way we should look at it, Raptors fans. Seriously, that's the way you should look at it, as a proud, like kind of person, a fan that, you know, they were on our team before. We love them. Freddie, you're a badass. Look what you're doing with the Rockets, turning them around. You're a badass. Norman, we always knew you could be a good starter, and you should have been an all-star this year. You know, that's the way we should be looking at this Raptors nation. Not what it coulda, shoulda. What if? Why is this not this way? Well, accept reality. Stop trying to script write and storylining. What if this happened? What if this? What if I had married Cheryl Teagues? What if I had married Cindy Crawford? Oh my gosh! What if I what? What if? What if? What if? It's not what if. It is what it is. Stop what ifing in your life. If you're doing that in your own personal life, like, oh my gosh, what if I had just done this? You're miserable. You can't do this. You can't do this. Reality is just reality. Accept the present moment as it is, and stop pining for the past and thinking that the past is going to rescue you or some sort of thing that's just going to help you out. Like, why? What is this? This is a futile exercise. Wondering about what if Pascal was still on the team. Well, that spicy barbecue might have been good, but it ain't happening because it ain't served at this restaurant no more. And that's just how it is. And, you know, you got to clear out the old brush to let the new plants grow up in the spring. You got plants that are dead lying on top of the ground. The new stuff won't come up underneath it, right? And well, in some ways, I'm telling you right now, the energy, the gumption for Van Vliet and Anunoby and Siakam in those last couple of years with the confusion and the gaslighting of Nick, it ruined a lot of the get up and go and the enthusiasm of those players for our team. And to jumpstart them, take the jumper cables out and stick them to Siakam, like, we're going to get you enthusiastic about being a Raptor again. You can't do that. You can't do that. Sure, Scotty can come in all friendly and happy and be, guys, I'm so happy to be your teammates. I want to be, you can reinvigorate them and infuse them with some excitement. And Siakam's kind of like, yeah, man, but I was a champion, man. You don't understand how nice it was. And now we went to Tampa and it sucks. You guys don't understand. These are human beings. They're not just commodities on an ESPN trade machine. They're not just a 2K build or somebody that you see in a video game. These are real people with human beings with feelings and lives and families. And in some ways, Fred, and like I said, Fred, OG, and Pascal, their time with the Raptors had came to a fruition and done. And y'all can't let that go. Why can't y'all let that go? Like, seriously, they're successful. We're going to be successful too coming up. And everything's going to be fine. It's just, I don't like this what if crap. I really don't. All right. I went in more depth on that. Got a little bit of a freak out on that. No disrespect to you, James. It's just that I feel like I've been answering this question for the last week since OG and Pascal have been doing so well. And I'm just sick of it. I don't understand why people can't just understand time and space and reality. That's what this is right here. There's a time and a place and a space and a reality to the world. And goo goo gaga trade machine land where I can keep Fred forever because I love him. I know, Adriana, you love him. I know you love him, Adriana. But Fred has to go to Houston now. I'm sorry. That was a tough day when I told her that Fred chose the Rockets over the Raptors in the summer and said, yeah, he's going to get $40 million from Houston, Adriana. She's like, I don't like that. He should be a Raptor. I know, I get that. But we get time to heal and let them go in their future. And we go in our own future with a new young core and a rebuild. You don't do a rebuild with Pascal and Fred still around, guys. And the rebuild was necessary. In some ways, you got to put off a rebuild just to keep Siakam around, just for fun, for nostalgia. No, that's not smart. Like I said, you glorify the past, the future dries up. And if you hold on to the past too long, it'll screw up you getting to the future faster. And this is all lessons that we need to learn about this. That's right. That's what we got to think. James is saying Ingram is better than Pascal, in my opinion. Better is isolation scorer and shot creator. All he has to do is stay healthy. Yeah, I won't disagree with this to a degree. I don't want to slight Siakam, though. I don't want to say they're better. I'm going to say they're different. They're very good. They're very similar level. I think that Siakam's very unstoppable himself, but I think that you're right. Brandon is very unstoppable, and he can create shots all kinds of places. And you're exactly right, James. His health is going to be key as far as things with the notorious BI3. We're going to need him to have his ankle okay and him able to get on the court. But Like I've also said, if there's load management going on with him, similar to Kawhi Leonard in our championship year, that may be smart also. There may be games where he's not playing back to backs just to baby him and keep him okay. And, also, he may be used in ways where like we don't have him every night. And it may be more RJ and Emmanuel are taking over and doing more of the stuff that we need. It could depend on the opponents we're playing. We're playing a very top team. Well, we'd like to have Brandon there to have our full force. But if we are playing a team like the Charlotte Hornets, maybe Brandon can sit out for a night and get a rest game just like Leonard would have in 2019. So, yeah, there's going to be different ways we're going to deal with this, different ways. Trevor's saying, what I think is, why are we still crying over ex-girlfriends? Now, he wants to call these ex-players of ours ex-girlfriends. I don't really see that. I think that it's just that, like I said, people see success and they see it on other teams and they want to automatically transfer it to, why isn't this happening for our team? Like if we had Fred, OG, and Pascal, we'd be in the playoffs right now. And they think that they'd be all doing the same thing with our team and the nucleus and stuff like that. That's not how it works, Raptors fans. You can't just take quantities that are known from other teams, add them together, and boom, it all happens like that. Then who knows what the chemistry would have been like? Who knows if we could have even done that with what we had with those guys still? In some ways, it wasn't working when we had Dennis and those guys on our team. We tried for a half season, and we were not winning enough. In some ways, I would blame, Nick Nurse for making our team all screwed up the year before. And then you got to give credit to Darko being a rookie coach, just starting out in his career and kind of trying to figure things out and get the lay of the land. In some ways, Darko was driving the old Raptors car and he needed to change some of the parts halfway through the season to fit more of his kind of what he wants to do. And that's what we did that season when we traded Anunoby and Pascal. So it's like, y'all, once again, stay present. Don't go back in time and say, well, we did this instead. We can't. We don't have the DeLorean. And y'all need to just kind of accept the path we're on and say this is the right path and this is the path we're supposed to be on. And stop second guessing this shit. It's so stupid, man. It really annoys me. It does really annoy me because in some ways I've worked so hard being present and understanding there's only now. There's no yesterday. There's no tomorrow. There's only right now, presently, right this moment today that matters and is reality and the only thing that matters in this world. You guys can be worried about so much in the future. It may never happen. And you may hold on to things from the past and regret so much that you're holding yourself back for no reason that is good in any kind of way because you can't let go. And that's part of what's going on right here is what if it's right here. That Stargate saying, laugh out loud. Let's see what he's saying. At Trevor, exactly. Hang on. Let me see. Laugh out loud at Trevor. Exactly. Just goes to show the maturity level of those who actually still debate that issue. It's irrelevant at this point. Even just being it is up to is moot. Well, I want to say it's probably a combination of young Raptors fans that just are like stupid and just kind of being immature about it. And then it could also be, let's open the realm of possibility. This is like Knicks Nation trying to gloat and trying to say, oh, we got OG and we got him now. And how do you feel about it now, Raptors fans? Like in some ways, they're trying to they're coming with that energy, trying to say that they fleeced us, just like New Orleans is trying to say the same damn thing this week about like Brandon. But the one thing I have to say over and over again to these people, you're making determinations on trades that have not been determined yet. And Manuel Quickly and RJ Barrett have a ceiling to grow into. And I think Brandon Ingram wants to return to all-star level. And Pelicans fans, Knicks fans, until we see, these guys continue to develop and do what they're going to do in the Raptors jersey, y'all can't tell us that y'all fleeced us on these trades. I'm sorry. It may look like y'all did really good with OG because he's on a huge stage. He's very, very helpful to you guys. He does add up to winning. Yes, we all know that. But we don't know how good Emmanuel Quickly is going to be in the next 3 years. He could end up being closer and closer to Maxey, and in some ways maybe even beyond Maxey in certain areas. RJ Barrett gets better on defense. He's a two-way player all of a sudden. He's a very, very good player to have on your team offensively, obviously. But, I'm just saying, y'all want to go ahead and declare this and this about trades already. Y'all are being a little too premature. That's what I would say right there. You got to give some time to the very young Quickly and Barrett and their Raptors career and see what they can strive and get to. OG's a little bit further along. He's older. And in some ways, he's in that prime, ready to do what he's doing right now to help the Knicks beat the Celtics. So the success of OG on the Knicks and Pascal on the Pacers is not a detriment to the Raptors. It's not a detriment to the Raptors fans. It's not a detriment to Masai and Bobby. It's not a detriment to us. It's honestly something we should be proud of and we should honor. And you know what? If you can be unselfish Raptors fans and say, you know what? I'm happy for the Pacers. I'm happy for them. I hope they win tonight and go up 3-0 over the Cavs. I'm happy for Pascal. That's the energy y'all should have. Don't get yourself gaslighted by Knicks fans trying to say, oh, Raptors fans, you idiots, you let us get OG. No, we got RJ and Emmanuel. And you know what? Y'all wanted OG for so long. It took y'all so damn long to get him. And we got our OG years, and we love OG. And OG's a champion with the Raptors, not with the Knicks. You remember that, New York. I'm going to say that too. He's a champion as a Raptor. He's not a champion as a Knick. Not yet, at least. If he ever. We'll have to see if that is what's going to happen. We'll have to see. I don't know. Let's see. Stargate saying, is that Noah system AI? I don't think so. I think it's just it's got sensors. It's like got motion detectors, and it kind of senses the ball in the space and time continuum. And it's kind of measuring the rotation and the way it hits the rim. It's very a sensor kind of like system. Sensors. Yeah. Fiercey's here. Good to see MJ. Good morning, fam, and happy Friday. It is really nice to see them hanging in Toronto. They're getting accustomed to the city, and they're creating a connection. I love it. Yeah. You know what? Let me go do the Instagram stories real quick. First of all, we got Eugene Omoroy. He's still over in Nigeria in Lagos. He's got a cool watch, and he's with a very attractive woman. He's saying his family, and he's just having a good time in Africa right now. So it's good to see 905's Eugene over there, Toronto zone. Omoroy, you go, man. You go. Superfan Mo's putting Morris Peterson on blast, talking about his love and connection with the city of Toronto. And just his story about coming up and all the levels of basketball, coming from Flint, Michigan, and believing in himself, and how he cultivated an underdog persona, and that he really did take to Toronto. He wanted to make that connection emotionally with the fans. And Mo Pete, you did, man. Mo Pete, you're one of the most, you were a real one from the start. We could feel your energy the whole time. Even next to Vince. All those years with Vince kind of, in some ways, he was flaky. And he was kind of in certain ways. But you know what? I always thought Peterson was solid. All the vibes and energy I ever got from Morris Peterson, in some ways about the Raptors, that's what I'm talking about today. Raptors that love Toronto and hang around. Amir Johnson, Morris Peterson. Garrett Temple's birthday was yesterday, and he got a lot of birthday love, especially from his wife. And she's saying, busy, busy day. It's my husband's birthday. I love him. Thank you, baby. There you go. And then he posted the things that matter. And there's some breakfast vibes with Garrett Temple Jr. wearing his Spider-Man shirt, eating the cereal. There's the baby. The little baby. He got a little spit on the lip there. The baby's like, I'm on camera. I don't want to be there. And there's Garrett and Garrett Sr., Garrett Jr. at the Raptors game on the side court. There he is with his wife again. Happy birthday to my lover, best friend, dance partner, guinea pig, visionary, protector, man of God. You're really, what does it say? You're truly 10 AK. I don't know what that means. That's probably some code between the two of them. I don't know. But yeah, it's so sweet to see such a lovely couple, Garrett Temple and his wife. There he is making some food with his family. He's showing all kinds of cool stuff. Family is everything. Everything to Garrett. That's what matters to Garrett, is his 3 children, his wife, and being the family man, and then being a Raptor mentor and stuff like that. More pictures of him with his wife. There's he reposted Jamal Shedd's birthday wish to him. My dog, happy birthday, big homie. He did not repost the one of him asleep on the plane, though. He reposted the one of Jamal holding in the rookie bag, though. There's a happy birthday from Garrett's agency, Priority Representation, saying happy birthday. And there's another one, happy birthday from Chauncey Hollingsworth. And there's a 3-way call Garrett had with his children. This is hilarious. He's on the phone. He's talking about what he's got to get for dinner. And he's saying lots of protein. Yeah. And his son's saying beefsteak and chicken and turkey and going over his, all this stuff. And then his daughter's kind of holding the phone and she's in on it too. It's like a 3-way call. It's pretty funny stuff. Morris Peterson showing some coffee on his Instagram. Let's see. Emmanuel quickly has got Michael B. Jordan from a movie on here. He must have been watching a movie last night, and he's got Michael B. Jordan on the screen. Toronto Tempo president, Teresa Resch, at the Scepters game with some Scepters fans. And the fans were really cool to see the president of the WNBA team at the game and getting a picture with her. And then Teresa saying at a thing, don't come to me and say, pick my brain. I want to pick your brain about how to get into the sports industry. She said, don't do that. She said, if you want to approach me and talk to me about my industry, come to me with some value or something that you have about yourself and present yourself in that way. And you know what? I might hire you. That's what she wants. She doesn't want you to come and say, hey, can I pick your brain on how to get into sports management? No, she don't want that, is what she's saying. She's saying show value or show who you are in certain ways, and boom, all of a sudden that'll get the door open for you. So there you go. Teresa Resch, very open about that, talking about that. There's Savannah Hamilton out with her besties. And once again, she has gone to that show. Once again, she's at Obsidian Theater, Crow's Theater, to see the women's basketball play that's going on in town right now. Catch it while you can. Shamshay saying happy birthday to Garrett. There he is. Man, you got the two ends of the spectrum. 20-year different in the age. Garrett Temple, 39. Ulrich Shamshay, 19. And the Cameroonian young prince wishing the best dressed Raptor happy birthday yesterday. 20-year difference in their ages, y'all. Isn't that awesome? Shamshay, 19. And Garrett, 39 as of yesterday. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Let's see. Jamison Battles putting on blast some soccer Spurs. I guess it's Tottenham Spurs or something like. Come on. It's 2-0 is the score. Let's see. Lloyd got some calamari or some pho or something like that. That looks crazy good. Why not Lloyd? That looks crazy good. Let's see what else we got. SGA is wearing the black butter shoes. He's got charm black shoes. He's put them on blast. Of course, selling some shoes. That's right. Kyle Lowry's on the links, and he's with Rory McIlroy, and he's in the Philadelphia golfing, and he's just in his element. That man's going to love golfing after he's retired. I'm telling you right now, that man is all about the golf. Rory McIlroy and Kyle Lowry dapping each other, hanging out. Vin Magnani is in the Instagram stories today. He is eating a dinner in Toronto at a restaurant, Quetzal, and it looks really good. But yeah, we don't do Vin Magnani on the Raptors Instagram stories very often. Yeah, I am following the assistant coach Vin. And well, they're in town. I guess the coaches are hanging out and eating dinner together yesterday, probably talking about strategies for the Raptors. Trying to figure out what they're going to do. That's all they do. I'm telling you, these guys are basketball nerds. They all sit around. Coco and Vin and Mike Batiste and Pat Delaney and Darko. They're all sitting around at a table in Toronto somewhere sometimes, and they're just like talking schemes and plays and play sets and what they could do with the RJ and Brandon and this and that. I'm telling you, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Jared Roden on the Instagram stories got a fresh new hairstyle. Looks good. Colin Castleton, as I said, here's the picture of him taking a picture of the Princess of Wales gates, and there's the CN Tower. The man is in Toronto. And if he's in the exhibition grounds, that means he's been to OVO Center. I'm telling you right now, he's been working out. Colin Castleton is committed to getting better, and he's going to try and make this team in training camp. And he'll probably play for us at Summer League in Vegas too. So I love to see the commitment of the young Florida boy coming up here and putting in time at OVO Center in Toronto. Colin Castleton, let's go. Let's make you a Raptor for a longer period of time. How about that? OG Anunoby in my Instagram stories. That sounds right. It's Raptors Instagram stories. He is a former Raptor. We can do this. There's a nice action picture of him and Mikal Bridges trying to block Jason Tatum as Kevin Scott looks on in the background. Yeah, that's pretty cool. There's some shenanigans after the game the other night in Boston. The Knicks fans not wanting to leave the arena. And the Celtics security getting really mad at the Knicks fans because they wouldn't leave the Boston arena after they beat them by 1. And then apparently, as Trevor was reporting, the Knicks fans were getting a little big in the britches out in the streets of Boston after the game, talking a lot of trash, and they got knocked out. Knicks fans were trying to talk trash. The Boston fans who were hurting, down 0-2 in this series now, and some street fights happened, and the Knicks fans got beat up in Boston, trying to be all big in the away city. Yeah, that's not a smart idea, New York fans. Seriously, don't be trying to pick a fight. The Boston fans are pissed, obviously. You can tell they are. That's right. OG putting on blast Mikal Bridges in a little picture there. That's kind of cool art right there. Jamal Shed with the picture of Garrett sleeping. Yeah, don't wake him up. Nobody's safe. Happy birthday from Jacoby Walter to Garrett Temple. And Scotty also reposted the Garrett Temple happy birthday wish with my guy on there. So there you go. There's the team unity in the Instagram stories. Everybody wishing Garrett a happy birthday yesterday. That's fantastic stuff. I love it. Stargate saying, wow, it's all the top refs. They really are using the creme de la creme refs in this playoff. I feel like we're seeing the same 12 refs for almost all the games right now, and they're really on every other rotation. And I feel like some of these refs are reffing these series more than one game, because I feel like James Capers Jr. he's been reffing so many games. Tony Brothers been reffing so many games. Bill Kennedy, they really are using the top refs in the playoffs right now. They really, really are. Cool Cat's here. Good to see the coach. Cool Cat has returned to the chat. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do Coach Cool Cat's team today to analyze by Trevor and them. So you know what? I might do this a little differently. Let me see if I can. I'm trying to do this where I don't have to. It's so dumb how this works. I just wish it would do it like where it would just copy the whole team. All right, let's see. How about this? We'll do it this way. Trevor, you're listening. G, you're listening. I'm going to read off her team this time, and you can tell me how you feel about how it sounds. Okay, Trevor J? Hopefully you are present and listening to me right now. So Cool Cat's team is, instead of trying to type it all out like I did that a couple times, it takes so long. Haley Jones, guard for Atlanta Dreams. Rikea Jackson of the LA Sparks. Han Zhu, who's actually a free agent and not on a team right now, Cool Cat, just so you know. That I don't know if Han Zhu is actually on a team currently. Natasha Heidemann, guard for the Lynx. Angel Reese, Chicago Sky. Dejane Carrington of Dallas Wings. Dallas Wings, right? Alicia Clark, Seattle Storm. Sabrina Ionescu of the New York Liberty. Leonie Fibek of the New York Liberty. Kalani Brown of the Mercury, and Lexi Hull of the Fever. So, Trevor, did you get all that? Hopefully you see that team that I just named off, and you can tell me how you feel. It's like, I guess the highlight players for Cool Cat's team are Angel Reese and Sabrina Ionescu. I know that Dejani Carrington is actually a pretty good player too, right? Rikea Jackson, that's another pretty solid player from what I know. But yeah, the highlight players, obviously Angel Reese, along with Sabrina from New York on Cool Cat's team. So yeah, please do an analysis of Cool Cat's team, Trevor or G. And I didn't want to type it all out like I've been doing. That hasn't been working very well, but I just named them. Yeah, Cool Cat's saying, good morning, Raptor Free crew. This is a bad season for my attendance, in and out for a bit. It's okay. I mean, I understand this about the summer. My numbers on my streams have been down this last part of the season, partly because I'm not going along with YouTube and trying to do ad revenue. They put me on blast more if I was trying to make money for them, but they're not putting me in the searches and the stuff like that. I'm not getting found as much right now. But partly it's also Raptors fans are not as active in trying to look for stuff. It's the off season. We had a bad year. We had a losing season. So I don't expect a lot of traffic. And we also have the summertime thing where a lot of y'all will leave and be busy during the summer. And I understand that. And it'll pick up more in the fall. So I get this. I totally get this. It's just how it is. And I don't fault anybody for it. In fact, I enjoy the bump that we get around September, October, when we come back to training camp and all the people start coming back. It's the off season. I don't expect everybody to go full off season Raptors like we do here every day. And, it's always not, necessary. Everybody comes every single day. But I appreciate when you are here, Cool Cat. I really do. I really, really do. Seymour saying, hope all is well. I'm pretty sure that some of it is a lot of people are just really busy with work. Work is changing for some people, I'm sure. And in some ways, they got to prioritize being able to do things that they need to do for work and other things too. As plus the summer, you're going to want to do more stuff outside. And I totally get that. Yeah, we hope all is well for Cool Cat. Yeah, she's saying that, yes, great to see our Raptors staying in the city and becoming Leaf fans. Go Leafs, go. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that second part. I mean, it's good that they are cheering for Toronto. And it's good for Leaf fans to see, wow, the Raptors are supporting us. And they really are earnestly really coming and showing up. And they're helping. Honestly, the Leafs being up 2-0 in this round, I want to think that the Raptors rookies being there on the first game and then the coaches being there for the second game was helpful. I always say that when the Leafs come to our games, we lose. But I feel like when the Raptors come to Leaf games, they win. So I'll say something about that. So if you're a Leaf Nation, you probably want Raptors people coming to your games more often because y'all are winning when they come. Y'all are winning. That's right there. Yeah, 100%. Cool Cat saying at Seymour, yeah, it's just work stuff, dealing with less staff to do increased work volume. That's just the work world. In some ways, it's like, look, if they could cut your job out for AI, I'm sure they will at some point. This is the crazy thing in this world right now. That's scary. Is like, it's going to be a little crazy because artificial intelligence is artificial. And in some ways, it's not intelligent. It really isn't. Like they tried to let the AI run the McDonald's drive-through and it failed. You don't have to be that intelligent to run a McDonald's drive-through, but AI couldn't do it. So I'm really worried about the kind of dumb stuff that's going to happen with calamity and mistakes and weirdness because AI is being implemented and they do not foresee problems that could happen with it. And I'm really worried. In some ways, it's like in the workforce, it's just shifting. Jobs are going to be changing. There's going to be downsizing. And as Cool Cat has said, more and more companies are getting rid of people and making people take on the workload. That's been the case for a while in a lot of places. So thank you for doing what you do and staying diligent, Cool Cat, and hang in there. We're rooting for you and we care about you. How about that? Let's see. Fiercely saying, great words of wisdom, Trevor. James, I wish we could have kept OG and Pascal, but that was my humane perspective. Business-wise, it had to be done. I'm just glad they're thriving and get shine. Yeah, I think it all worked out really well for everybody. It may not seem like that to the Raptors fans. They're like, wow, I wish we had them. We'd be in the playoffs right now. No, 1 + 5 doesn't equal 2. You can't add like that. That's not how you do it, guys. I'm sorry you can't just say automatically. Like if we had Siakam and OG on our team still, we would still be playing in the playoffs right now. You don't know that. And you can't just say shit like that. Sure, we could be the champions because of that nucleus, but you can't say for sure. We don't know. You can't. You can't say that. It's pretty likely we wouldn't be the champions, even with those guys on our team. So it's like, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Stop doing that. There's only is what it is, and it is what it is. And yeah, it's so dumb. I get what she's saying. That sentimentality, the humane side. She's saying, she gets it from a roster and business and basketball perspective why this had to be done. But she had a personal connection to these players. She cared about them, and it's tough to see them go on. But that's what I would say, like she's saying, it's like it's really good that they're being successful still, and we can be happy for them. You can be happy for them. It's like if you date somebody and they go find somebody new and they're happy with the new person, you could be a bitter hater and be like, I hate them. I hate them. Or you could turn the other cheek and say, you know what? I'm really happy that person found somebody new and they're happy. In some ways, that's the energy you should have about this, people in Raptors Nation, about Siakam and Anunoby. You should just be like that. Seriously. You'd be a lot happier and stop being a hater. Come on now. Seymour saying them seeing a playoff environment will push them to want it even more for themselves. Yeah, I mean, it is NHL playoffs, though. I mean, it's kind of different. I mean, these guys are going to playoff games. I mean, Emmanuel went to a Miami-Cleveland game in the first round and was in the Miami arena because he was down there working out. So, I mean, I think they get more from going to NBA playoff games than the NHL playoff games. I mean, the environment, the excitement is great, but in some ways it's like, I don't know. In some ways I don't see. I think that, and I don't want our players to go to too many playoff games. Like even Emmanuel going to that Miami Cleveland game is a little bit like, but you know what? He's a basketball junkie and he just wanted to go see basketball. And, that kind of stuff. A lot of our players have been in the playoffs, but some of those young players have not, and they got to see it. Cool Cat saying parity in the league is creating a fun atmosphere for us basketball fans. No game is over until the whistle stops. Laugh out loud. Yeah. And this is what I wanted. In some ways, I'm very happy about those trends with the NBA. I was really disenchanted the last time the Warriors won before the last championship, the one before we won. I was just like, I even wrote this on Twitter at that time in the summer of when we traded DeMar. And I was pretty sure the Warriors were going to win the championship again for another year in a row because they had just gotten, DeMarcus Cousins. And they had DeMarcus Cousins along with Durant and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and Steph Curry. And I was like, this is a stacked team. This team is too stacked. They've just won the championship and they just added DeMarcus Cousins. This is not fair. And I wrote a tweet and saying the NBA is never going to allow a team like the Raptors to ever win a championship. I wrote that the summer before we won the championship. I don't know. Maybe Adam Silver saw my tweet. He's like, hold my beer. Let's try and figure something out. Maybe if the Raptors are going to win a championship, this would be good for the league. And it was. It was good for the league in Canada. That's for damn sure. And, in some ways it was good for the league in different ways also on the down low. Even if people down in the States were like, oh, the Raptors win the championship. That was such a fluke. Some people think that, but it's not. It's not. And the evidence is there, especially with some of the players playing in the playoffs right now that were on that championship team. that the evidence is there. That's right. Yeah, I like the fact that, no lackadaisicalness. You better play all 48, Boston, or you're going to get beaten by 1 point at the end of the game. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying, yeah, this year's playoff seems a little different than previous years. Let's see if it continues. Yeah, I think it's a combination of two things. I think it's the salary cap making more parity, as Cool Cat just mentioned, and also the referees allowing more old school style physicality in the games. In some ways, that some people are saying, well, people are getting more hurt, but it's also made more entertaining. There's more excitement. As Scotty said on Twitch, he said, I'm enjoying these playoffs way more because they let them play. They let them play. In some ways, Scotty, as a player in the NBA, our main player, is said he's very open and honest on the record, is saying, I'd rather play that style of game than pussyfooting around and playing light. You know what I'm saying? He'd rather have the physicality in the game. He's not shying away from it. He wants to come right into it. And he said, this is the way we're supposed to play basketball. This is real basketball. None of this ballet where you can't touch me and I go to the free throw line that we were playing in the 2010s for a while with LeBron James and them. No, this is the way the game's supposed to be played. As in Scott's eyes, Scotty said it. He's like, this is the way the game's supposed to be played. Physically, defensively. There's supposed to be physicalness in basketball. And he loves it. He was eating it up. He's watching playoff games on Twitch. We're reacting to it. And he's saying, this is the best, man. I've been enjoying the playoffs so much because it's so physical this year. So this is the thing. And I told him in the comments, I said, Scott, you better be ready for this physicality next year when you go to playoffs. You and RJ and all y'all, you need to be ready for this physicalness and this physical uptick that the playoffs are now. In some ways, some of the teams are getting messed up right now, like Boston in the last couple of games. They weren't ready totally for this in some ways. They play a little soft, a little like shying away from physicality. Now, the Raptors, during the season, we played a very intense defensive game. Like Leo Routon said on the Mike Roach podcast recently, the Raptors and Darko Rajakovic got something really rare out of the team. They got their team to play hard all the time. That's one thing we could say about the Raptors. They play all out all the time, and that's really hard to do. Players want to be lazy or walk the ball up the court or play a little lackadaisical on defense. No, Darko ain't having it. You're sitting, and somebody else is coming in. And Darko's level of playing hard for the Raptors is really going to benefit us when it gets to playoff time, because we're already playing a very physical, hard style of game that's all out on defense and stuff like that. So we practice it already in the season, so we're kind of already ready in the playoffs. That's the philosophy of that. Some teams may not go through the full motions and play all out during the regular season, and then they try and turn it on in the postseason. That's not what we're doing. We're implementing it on an everyday schedule, 82 games before the playoffs even start. And that'll benefit us when we do get to the playoffs next year. Watch. Having a play hard mentality. And Leo said it. He's like, I'm so impressed that Darko gets the Raptors to play hard, not just some of the time, but all of the time. And I could say consistently this year that the Raptors played hard almost all the time this year. I can't remember hardly when they wouldn't play out. And that's something you got to say. Like, even think about Nick Nurse era coaching our team. You can tell when the players weren't playing hard. But Darko's era, they're playing hard almost 100%. There's maybe a couple of games this year where they shat the bed and didn't play right, and that was around Christmas. But for the most part, every single game they came out with a good effort, and they were showing full court press defense in a lot of games, which is crazy, man. It's really, really crazy. Fiercely saying, yes, Pacers, please crush the Cavs tonight. I have a feeling, because this playoff season is so upside down and all over the place, that the Cavs are going to win this game somehow. And it's just going to be all kinds of weird craziness. I don't know. The favoritism is home court for Indiana, and the refs are all on the side of the Pacers tonight, just so you know. Seymour saying at Cool Cat, yeah, my boss tried to pull a quick one, wanted me to take the day off today so he wouldn't have to pay me for the stat on Monday. But guess what? I'm here. There you go. There you go. Workers' rights. I always stand with the workers. Labor Party, labor movement, power to the people and the workers that make things happen, and screw the CEOs and the corporate types. Fuck them. That's right. So you go, Seymour. I'm glad you fight the power. That's right. Seymour Paper, literally. Seymour Paper, because he went to work today. That's right. Leaving at lunch, though. Okay. All right. That's good enough. Cool Cat saying there was no bench to support Siakam, Fred, and OG era. You can see it around the league. No supporting cast can't win when you go to bench to rest. Facts. Yeah. And that's part of the problem with the transition. Like, like I said, I'm going to give Casey credit for developing the bench mob, not Nick. And then pretty much the championship year had the bench mob development and all that under stuff with Fred and Pascal and those guys. And then after that, I mean, we went into Malachi, we went into Jalen Harris. Think about the people we were drafting. It's not that the draft picks were bad, it's just that we weren't getting them realized in any kind of fruitful way to help bolster and keep young players coming up. And we kind of relied on that bench mob generation to kind of mature and get to their level of being starters and do what they do. But we've got to realize that in some ways, Fred was an undrafted player and he has his limits as far as like what he could do to be a completely starter. Now he's going way beyond where he should be as a player. But at the same time, he came so far from where he shouldn't have even came to this that he's going to have some limits to what he's going to be able to do as far as things. He's an amazing, impressive, one of the most successful NBA players in the history of the NBA, Fred VanVleet. He absolutely is, pound for pound. You look at his story, you look at who he is, and this is just not that common. This is a very, very rare player. And that's what I try to tell people all the time. They don't respect him enough. They should, because he's a very, very rare player. Seriously, yeah. Seymour saying this one version of us looks great. Bench with the key starting five. Well, I feel like because of our draft class last year, that we're going to get that development of, like, dare I say, and they've been trying to say this year, a bench mob, that we might get a bench mob because we've got Jonathan, Jameson, and Jamal, and Jacoby, and Ulrich, and the draft pick we're going to get this summer. That's right. Trevor's saying, I'm looking forward to Celtics going down. The last two games, they had 75 missed threes. 75 missed threes. Well, see, that's that strategy. Like, NBA is going to be all about the three-pointer. Okay. All right, NBA, overemphasize the three-pointer. At some point, that's going to fail even the best teams at it. And the Celtics are showing that right now. The bread and butter of basketball has always been high percentage shots, and the three-point shot can have its heyday and be a fad for a while, but I'm going to tell you, it's going to go away to an extent. It's not going to be as prevalent and as important as it is in the years to come, because in some ways we're hitting the ceiling on what the three-point shot can get you to a certain level, and that it's not the most reliable strategy as a team concept to win championships. I'm going to say that right now. That may be the lesson this year for Boston Celtics is y'all's over-reliance on the three is going to be absolutely the reason why y'all are going out of the playoffs. And it's shown in these first two games with New York. Right there, right there. Keep the vibes going up. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying exactly, Lex. Thank you for the immaturity of some of those fans after 30 years of this franchise is disheartening, to say the least. I just feel like it's like, hello, we're in real world. You can go ahead and live in your little fantasy sports NBA 2K trade machine world, but you don't understand the reality of the NBA and front office work that Bobby Webster has to do. And, it's just, it's annoying. It's annoying. It's really annoying. James is saying Monday is draft day. We know if we're seventh or move up. It's a draft lottery day. That's the day where the ping pong balls fall. And we'll find out our pick. And then the draft will be in June. It'll be a month after that when we actually draft the player. But we'll know the spot we're going to be drafting at as of Monday, which is going to be awesome. I'm all about it. Cool Cat saying we should be proud of our bench mob success in the league. Exactly. Totally proud of them. Let's cheer for them like a proud community. Raptors history book written, the most awarded Raptors draft summer league coming up. There you go. That's a great schedule. I'm all about it. And yeah, that's the right action on this. It's not woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's I'm proud of these guys and their history and their past with us, and that they continue to be successful going forward. That's the right action. It's not, why are they not here anymore? It's like, what is that energy? Seriously. Stargate saying we have a good team. The players just need to stay healthy and play the right roles. Yeah. And Lex is 100% right, is what Stargate's saying. Yeah, I guess I got a little bit of a Friday freak out on that subject instead of the freak out about the players sticking around in town. But this is the thing. Once again, let's go forward in the future, because the great things that happened for the Raptors with our championship were from young players coming up and becoming something they weren't supposed to, like Fred. Seriously, Siakam, another one. Siakam in some ways went way beyond who he was supposed to be in this league. Seriously. And that's a testament to his work ethic and his drive and his want to do that. That's a big part of it right there. And in some ways, we've got a young core coming up from these rookies that's hopefully going to mirror a lot of the things that happened with Norman and Fred and DeLon and Pascal and Jakob before. That's what I'm saying. And Jakob's interesting because he can see it coming. He said it in the interviews, like in some ways, these guys reminded me of how we were when we were bench mob, because he can see it. He's a bench mob alumni, and he could see it. He's like some of the things I see between Jamal and Jacoby and them. It reminds me of how we were when we were rookies and coming up too. That's a good sign that a real bench mob member sees the new guys as having that kind of synergy that's similar to what they had back then. That's right. Seymour saying we were talking too long about a Nick. I don't mind talking about OG. I really don't. OG's an interesting thing to talk about. I did really want to do my spiel about comparing OG stats between his Raptors and Knicks time. And I really crunching it. It really is that he's just shooting better. And his numbers went up partly because he's shooting a better percentage. And that's just his work and becoming a better shooter over his career. And like I'm saying, like even just the fact that he's shooting, like he shoots 80% at the free throw line now. He used to shoot 75% in Toronto. That's another place where he's getting extra points. And it's just because he got better at the free throw line. So it's like, there's reasons why his numbers have gone up. Like I said, the main reason is Thibodeau plays him more minutes on average than he got played in Toronto. And then, he's taking about the same amount of shots, but he's making more of them and he's making more free throws too. And that'll uptick your averages and your scoring right there. That's it right there. Yeah. G saying, love Pascal, Fred, and OG and wanted to keep at least one of them, but now we need to look forward to our future. We have young, upcoming stars that have great chemistry. Future is bright. Exactly. And in some ways, the guys that we're talking about all got paid, and they're getting paid a lot. They're all like $40 million men. And in some ways, we got these rookies that we can pay on the rookie contracts for cheap. And that's how you get more winning. You can't hold on to these guys once they get paid and get the bag. Freddie's getting paid $45 million. We can't fit all that in the salary cap. So you make tough choices. So you send these guys to other teams and they get the biggest payments they've ever got in their life. OG's like the highest paid Nick, I think ever. He was until Cat, I guess. I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. We can't fit all them in the salary cap. So come on, immature Raptors fans who think we should have kept them all. How does that work financially? Can you tell me how that works financially? And can you understand why it's better to have Jamal Shed on a rookie contract than Fred VanVleet on a $40 million contract at this point in the Raptors team right now? Can you see why it may be better to have Ochai Agbaji on his contract over OG Anunoby on his contract on the Raptors right now? Can you see the value in that? Can you? The young player is going to come up and get more and more better, and you're going to have them at a cheaper rate. And that's the smart secrets of Bobby Webster right there. Hello. That's it right there. That's right. Are we scouting Queen next? Yeah, I'm going to do a Thursday think tank on Derek Queen next week. So I don't want to go ahead and do it on him right now, but we'll do this definitely. We'll do him next. Yeah, it'll be probably next Thursday. We'll do a Thursday think tank on Derek Queen. Yeah. Any other players an option? We'll just have to see. In some ways, it may have to do with what happens on Monday with the draft lottery and where the ping pong balls fall. If we know exactly where we're picking, I'll be more speculative in an educated way about what is more possible about who we may draft. And we'll do the Thursday think tank on that player. And it's looking like it'll probably be Derek Queen that I will do the Thursday think tank on next week. Yeah. Stargate saying, let the Knicks and Cavs and Pacers have their fun now because the Raptors are about to break all that shit up. Wait till Licky more. What? Little more? I mean, that's what I'm saying. We had to bottom out and take a rebuild time, and it's short. It's not going to be that long, and we're going to come back next year. So Raptors fans, pause on all your stuff just because you're watching these former Raptors in the playoffs. Pause on all that. Wait till next year. And it's baby steps. We may not do much. We may get put out in the first round next year, but we may not also. We have to find out and just go with the flow and see what's going to happen. That's right. We got to see what's going to happen. Cool Cat's saying one bright spot is that Siakam, Fred, Norm always talk about Raptors in their interviews. They celebrate their origin, take pride in that Raptors community, spreading Raptors basketball. Yes. And they're alumni that respects what they accomplished for the most part, Norman. And really speaks highly of the organization, the people in the organization, the city, the country. And, they should be proud of their accomplishments on this team. In some ways, if you're ignoring them or not really talking about them, well, don't be like Kawhi. Don't be like Kawhi is what I'm saying right there. Fiercely saying, yep, Lex, that's what I was saying. The way Thibodeau uses OG makes it look like he's more of an offensive threat. Yeah, in some ways, look, I don't think he's a higher option on their team than he was on our team either. Some people are saying, oh, well, one of the reasons why OG wanted to leave Toronto is because he wasn't more of a focus on the offense. I think he's the exact same in the pecking order for the Knicks as he was with the Raptors. He was always kind of the third option. And he's like that right now, too. You can't tell me he's an option over Jalen Brunson. You can't tell me he's an option over Cat. Those two guys are number 1 and 2 on that team, but he may be the third option on that team right now. Now, if we look at the Raptors in the past, well, you could say Fred, Pascal, and then OG, something like that, or Pascal, Fred, and OG. And then Scotty came in there. Scotty never really wanted to be one of the main 3 options. He always wanted to be kind of the 4th or 5th option in the starting lineup and just being the glue guy. So look at it that way. In some ways, OG was already playing the third option for the Raptors. It's the same role in a lot of ways what he was doing on Toronto before that. Yeah. Cool Cat saying Ingram is not better than Siakam. Siakam is a complete two-way player, folks. Ingram focuses pure shooting. I don't want to make this a Siakam versus Ingram thing. Now, both of them are most improved players. They both won that award, which is interesting. Also, they both have gotten around All-Star and All-NBA, right? I think. I don't know if Brandon's got an All-NBA. Now, Siakam's obviously been more healthy than Brandon over his career. Now, I think that Brandon's underrated as a defender. In fact, Leo said this on the Mike Roach podcast, that people are going to realize that Brandon's a lot better defender than people realize. He's very, very long-armed, and he has good timing, and he has basketball IQ and smarts. So what's going to happen next year is a lot of people are going to expect the offensive stuff from Brandon, but they're going to be very, very pleasantly surprised at how good a defender he is. So don't discount Ingram on defense, Cool Cat. In some ways, they're very similar kind of players. I will say maybe Siakam has more experience, and he may be the better defender, but Ingram is not that bad on defense. Let's just put it that way. He's not that bad on defense. Some of it maybe he's a little read thin and people can go around him, maybe muscle him and stuff like that, but his length and his aptitude are pretty good for this. I don't like comparing these guys because they're apples to oranges. And honestly, we can't really assess this fairly until Brandon's healthy and he gets some time out there again. You know, I won't say for sure that Siakam's better than Ingram or Ingram is better than Siakam. It's really hard to determine that right now. It really, really is. Let's see. Seymour saying some of those takes. Wow. What has Ingram accomplished? No knock at Ingram. His future is bright in good hands. Yeah. What has Ingram accomplished? Oh, man. You know, if you think about his career, he really showed some real good promise with the Lakers early on, and he was really getting the spotlight then, and he was scary. And, you know, when he's healthy on the Pelicans, he really is an OP kind of scorer. It's like, you know, Pelicans fans have blamed their problems in the playoffs because he wasn't there and he wasn't available when they really needed him in games. And then, boom, all of a sudden they're out. And they say, like, oh, if he had been healthy, we would have gone further in the playoffs. But Brandon was on the shelf and we couldn't count on him. That's what I'm saying is like we got to Dr. Alex load management this guy smart. So in some ways we handle it just like the Clippers did with Kawhi and make it so that he can be healthy in the playoffs. In some ways it doesn't matter totally what he does in the regular season. Sure, we want reps and chemistry built up with the core of the Raptors. But in some ways we do want to keep him healthy so that he's at his best health-wise around when the postseason starts. And in some ways, there's going to be a lot of mirroring the way we handled Kawhi Leonard in 2019 with Brandon Ingram this year coming up. Watch. There will be a lot of mirroring of that kind of stuff and how we handled him. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercely saying what he's doing now, I don't see the difference as to what he is doing with us. No shade to OG. Yeah, he's basically the same kind of player. And like I said, he's getting the same kind of outputs. He got 5 points in the last game for them. He got 29 the game before. You can go look at his outputs in the playoff games, and his up and down and his scoring totals are very similar to kind of the randomness of what he would do on the Raptors the last couple of years. There'd be nights where he'd get a 30-point game. There'd be nights where he'd only score 7 points. There'd be nights when he'd score 13 points. You know, there's a lot of variance with OG. And on some of the high point games, then you start hearing all the chirping about why is he not on the Raptors? Oh, he's so much better on the Knicks, all this stuff. I'm like, come on, man. Seriously, he's not that much different. Fiercely can see it. I can see it too. He's not that much different. Cool Cat's saying one thing Raptors fan base has to do is stop comparing players. Yeah. In some ways, this Ingram Siakam thing, they're very different. They're very, very different. They're both very, very good. And in some ways, it's kind of hard to quantify who's actually better. I would say, Siakam has the better resume and he's been the better player, but that's mostly because he's been healthy. And in some ways, we don't know if Ingram had been mostly healthy, what kind of accolades he would have gotten already. We don't know. We don't know. So embrace it. Embrace each player's contribution. Yeah, I like that. Don't sully our Raptors reputation. We want database of great players in our Raptors history. Yeah, we have a great alumni, and they're embracing it now, and they're proud of it. And I love that so much. Like hearing this year, Damon Stoudemire, TJ Ford, Grevis Vasquez, Amir Johnson, all these former Raptors coming out and doing interviews and talking about what being a Raptor and the alumni and being a part of our history means to them. It's really built a culture and a thing that we need to be more and more proud of. Longstanding franchises like the Celtics, like the Leafs, have a rich culture and history. And you got kind of this feelings of like, Larry Bird, Casey Jones, Bill Russell, John Havlicek. And now we can start saying stuff like Fred VanVleet, Vince Carter, Chris Bosh, Tracy McGrady, and we have a history of different stuff in our franchise history, and that's what we needed to cultivate 30 years in, is that kind of stuff. And there's pride in our former players. In some ways, the guys from the very beginning, like Tracy Murray and AC Earl and Ed Pickney, they can look back and see where the Raptors are now and be like, yeah, we were there at the very beginning. And in some ways, I have more pride about it to see where the Raptors have come in 30 years, and I feel more attached to it too, in a weird, odd way. Even though it's like, yeah, we were on the Raptors. They were an expansion team. They were weird. And we had fun. We were a veteran team. We had fun and we were goofing around. Some of it wasn't too serious. But man, now that I see in the perspective of what the Raptors have grown into, I value being an inaugural first-year Raptor more so than ever. Tracy Murray. That's that kind of stuff. Over time, the value comes out. Tracy McGrady's not afraid to be in a Gillette commercial with Grady Dick now, because in some ways the Raptors are not a laughing stock like they were around when he played for them. In some ways he can say that. He's like, you know what? I'm actually really proud I got drafted by the Raptors and spent the first couple of years of my career in Toronto. In some ways I am proud of my Raptors roots, even though I'm more a Orlando Magic guy or a Houston Rockets guy. That's what I say right there. Yeah. Fiercely saying Friday freakout became a real freakout. Thanks, James. Well, I'm going to freak out at some point. I think in some ways it's just I get tired of the same tropes of conversation. Like we've already talked about this. So let's do the straight goods on the Canadian goods. And today we're doing another restaurant chain. And this one has connections to the Raptors, specifically Norman Powell. You know what I'm going to start talking about right here. It's Osmoff's. Osmoff's Shawarma. That's right. Osmoff's is my Canadian goods for today. Osmoff's was founded in 2001, guys, by a guy named Sam the Man Osmoff. He has a bachelor's degree in accounting and business, and it's one of the fastest growing chains in Canada. Like they're starting to expand into the United States. So yeah, Osmoff's, of course, was with the Raptors doing the ad campaign with Norman Powell and other Raptors eating the Osmoff's. I was eating Osmoff's for good luck before Raptors games for 1 year because of the ads, just so you know, Osmoff's. But yeah, Osmoff's is a Canadian franchise. And you guys, if you eat at Osmoff's, you are supporting Canadian industry and Canadian jobs and Canadian food. So yeah, the Osmoff's are a great family. Sam and his son Ben and his daughter Bernadette running that company. So yeah, go ahead and get down to Osmoff's and get some of that falafel, some of that shawarma, some of that great Mediterranean cuisine that Osmoff's has at so many locations all over Canada. So yeah, get the straight goods on Canadian goods. Osmoff's, shawarma. That's right, Norman Powell. Let's go. That's right, Norman. Let's go. All right, let's see. Stargate saying, remember, Brandon publicly stated he wanted to come to the Raptors because Dr. Alex and the Raptors medical staff. That's one thing, like the whole thing about the Pelicans fans saying, oh, they fleeced us because Brandon can't be healthy. They're forgetting this. They're forgetting about our guy, Dr. Alex. And that's why I have confidence in this. I think this is part of the reason why they have confidence in putting the extension on him too. It's like, don't worry about Brandon missing games, Dr. Alex. That's it right there. I don't know who's running things down in Pelicans. Maybe they have Dr. Nick from The Simpsons. Hi, everybody. Maybe they have Dr. Nick Riviera from The Simpsons. Maybe that's the doctor for the Pelicans. Maybe it's like Brendan came in and he's like, Dr. Nick, can you help my ankle? And he's like, I could sell you some insurance or something like that. What are you? You're a quack. What are you trying to do to my ankle, man? Nah. And like Brandon's like, I'm not seeing the ankle guy here in New Orleans anymore. Get me to Toronto. I need Dr. Alex. You know, who knows? I don't know who's doing doctoring down there in New Orleans Pelicans. Seriously, they may have one of the worst medical staffs down there. And Pelicans fans, y'all are being like, why you get him? He's broken. He's no good. No, you guys have a horrible medical staff, horrible training staff. You don't keep your players healthy, obviously, because you have all kinds of different players going out all the time. It's true. Zion Williamson, where's your trainer? Where's your trainer? Where's the training staff for the Pelicans? Who's keeping these people healthy? Zion Williamson raiding the 7-Eleven at 2 a.m. in the morning, coming home with a big old bag of like junk food, potato chips, and trashing his house, according to a porn star named Mariah. I mean, this is what's going on here. We're talking about the Pelicans and what they do in their franchise with their training staff and their doctors. I don't trust them to take care of Brandon Ingram's ankle. What do you think he's been hurt? Because you ain't got no doctors down there. You got Dr. Nick. Hi, everybody. That's what's going on down there. I'm telling you right now, they got Dr. Nick. Dr. Nick down there. You know who I'm talking about, the guy with the mustache. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about on The Simpsons. That's who they got right there. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Stargate saying, man, I hope we keep Garrett in some capacity. He is so important for this team in all kinds of ways. He's just that vet. He's just that vet. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. The signs are showing it. I mean, why would he be at the Leaf game this week? It's like, look, your contract's up. Are you going to come back next year? I just like hanging out with the guys. I just want to be here with these dudes. They're cool, man. But, dude, you're not even on the team anymore, and we don't think we're going to sign you next year. Oh, really? Well, maybe I shouldn't be at the Leaf playoff game then. No, he's at the Leaf playoff game with Emmanuel, Jamal, and Jonathan. That says something right there. Why is Garrett sitting in the box with them, with his wife, too? Seriously, that's a good sign that he's coming back. I mean, Darko said he's coming back. Darko said, he's like, I love Garrett. Garrett will be here next year. And Garrett said, I want to be here next year. Well, it's up to Bobby Masai. Hey, here's your veteran minimum, Garrett. You're back. And everybody be like, saying, so the fans that don't pay attention will be like, why are we signing Garrett's old ass back? Why do we have Garrett back again? Why is Garrett back again? He's so old. Why is he doesn't even play? Why is he back? Okay, Raptors fans who aren't really fans because you ain't paying attention. You don't understand what he's doing for the team. Okay, you go ahead and be ignorant and show how stupid you are, that you don't understand what Garrett Temple's role is on this team. You go ahead. You go ahead. Be that. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying the movie Sinners. It's the hot movie out right now next to Thunderbolt. Sinners? Sinners. Oh, man. I'm just not cool anymore. I'm not following the trends anymore. I should follow music. That's the one place I should know what's going on. Trevor's saying Minnesota take game 2, and Draymond picked up his 5th technical of the playoffs last night. Yeah, this was good. The Timberwolves handled the Warriors by the end of the game, got them pretty good by like a double-digit, almost 20-point lead. And I was really impressed with Nickel. Nickel off the bench, getting 20 points, shooting 4 of 6 from 3. Our guy for Team Canada, Nickel Alexander-Walker, playing really badass for the Timberwolves in the game last night. And then the other guy that was really big was Julius in the starting lineup. Anthony Edwards getting a lot of criticism from Chris Finch for not being a stronger leader. And some ways he isn't stepping up. And Rudy Gobert wasn't all that in this game either. But they got good contributions from Jaden McDaniels and Julius and Nickel. And that was huge, huge for them. And, of course, on the other side, the Warriors are missing Steph Curry right now, and that really hurts. That really, really hurts. They started their rookie, Quentin Post, in their game last night against Gobert. I don't know if that totally went that well. But, yeah, this is a series. Chris Finch is very serious about beating the Warriors. And you know what? I think he will in the end. Hopefully he will. We'll see. It's 1-1 now in this series with Minnesota and Golden State. Yeah, Draymond's got to watch out. Karthika of TSN Stats saying that this man's just a couple of technicals away from getting suspended for a game because he's been catching technicals and flagrants pretty quick in this playoff so far. Yeah. Cool Cat saying, I do have a good team. I do have a good team if I say so myself. See, she likes her team. Her WNBA fantasy team's pretty good. So Trevor's saying that Cool Cat's got a lot of shooters, one good difference, and Angel, the rest is not too good on defense on her team. Okay, so you got good shooters and maybe not the best defensive team, but she likes Angel Reese. There you go. There you go. So there's the fantasy breakdown for Cool Cat's team today. We've done my team. We've done Meredith's team. We've done Cass. We've done James. And now we've done Cool Cat. And, well, maybe we'll do Fiercey tomorrow. Fiercey, we'll go over your team maybe tomorrow. If you're going to be here for the Saturday Share the Love Club, and we're doing an alumni Share the Love Club. It is the JYD's birthday tomorrow. So guess what? JYD, it's Share the Love Club, Junkyard Dog. We've done a lot of the former players for the 30th anniversary alumni seasons. We're going to do alumni tomorrow because it is the Junkyard Dog's birthday tomorrow. And he's been so active with the team this year, of course, with things. And you can actually go to the NBA restaurant and still pick up his book, Role Player. Its signed copies are down at the Queens Quay NBA restaurant. Hopefully when we go for Monique's thing, maybe they'll still be there. I'll buy a signed copy of JYD's book if they're still selling at the NBA restaurant when we get down there. But Share the Love Club for Junkyard Dog, Jerome Williams, tomorrow, 9:30 a.m., Saturday, Share the Love Club. Please come in and celebrate the JYD. I love that guy. I met him a couple times. He's Facebook friends with me. And he's actually watched our channel, guys. So, JYD, you're getting the Share the Love. We've done the Tuesday trivia for him in the past, but he hasn't gotten a Share the Love Club. He's going to get it tomorrow. That's right. That's what's going on. That's right. Let's see. Fiercely saying, yes, I've been back to the office since early April, stuck getting used to it, but it prevents me from attending the RF stream at times. Yeah, because you're not at home working from home. It's easier for you to put it on the background as a radio show for you to work to. But yeah, if you're in the office, they hear old crazy Lex's voice in here singing songs and talking to Puppet Beaver. Yeah, they'd be wondering what's going on there. Talking to a Puppet Beaver. Let's see. James saying, wonder how the world will be in 10 years with all the AI stuff. I'm worried about it. In some ways, I like that I'm out here in the woods now because in some ways, I'm not for this technical world coming. And I want to go the other direction. I'm going to go back to the natural world. I'm going to get my hands in the dirt and start planting and just get more in tune with the birds and the nature and go in that direction. In fact, I'm curious about maybe getting a little kayak and starting to go out to little lakes in Ontario and just exploring the lakes and getting out there and paddling around like people do. That's like a new hobby. It just struck me the other day. I'm like, man, Lex, you're not far from Kawartha. You're not far from Simcoe. You're not far from all these huge lakes in Ontario. You could just get them and put a boat in your truck and go there and just go for a fun excursion out and explore on the water. So, man, I'm going in that direction. I'm going back to the roots and the grassroots. And in some ways, I'm turning 50 this year. I'm going to turn 50 and say, you know what? I'm that old codger that's just not going with y'all on this stuff. Y'all going to do AI? You're going to do this? Well, I'm going to have my own intelligence. Y'all can rely on artificial intelligence. Y'all have been Googling too much anyway, not retaining information. In some ways, we're going to get dumber and dumber just because we rely on the technology to think for us too much. That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about, that the people will become dumber and dumber because all the AI is doing all the thinking for society at a certain point. So I'm going to be old school, and I'm going to keep my intelligence not artificial and keep it inside my head. How about that? Yeah, I wonder too, James. It's a scary thing, man. Scary, scary thing. Coquette saying the kind of IT work I do, I always have to find ways to put myself out of my current job and into a new job at my workplace. Laugh out loud. Master something, leave it behind, and then find another problem to master. I guess that's how you stay on the cutting edge. You stay relevant and you stay needed in some ways. I guess that's true. Yeah, Cool Cat, all the power in the world, all the time to you and what you do. All the time. I wish you luck and only good things. Wayne's here. Good to see the Sergeant at Arms for our channel. Wayne Strainer. He's saying, good morning, Raptor Freaks. Other teams saying we got fleeced is amusing, seeing that our former guys haven't really won anything yet. Certainly glad that the Knicks, Pacers, and Rockets are happy with them. Yeah, I think it's a really funny that the New Orleans fans are trying to say they fleeced us on Brandon. I think that's hilarious already. I mean, seriously, I can understand Knicks fans thinking this. Like, they may have the best case just because they're having a lot of success right now. But nah, you think that, obviously Rockets fans aren't saying we got fleeced because we didn't trade or anything. Fred just came there, but they're very happy with Fred being there. Most of them, not all Rocket fans. And then the Siakam stuff, I mean, Pacers fans are more classy. They're not usually the kind of person that's gloating and saying, oh, we fleeced you on this deal. In some ways, like I said, the Siakam deal with us is not totally kind of sussed out totally. In some ways, we've had a lot of different things come from the Siakam trade already, whether it's things like, we've had Jacoby Walter came from the Siakam trade. There's a couple of these guys that we got that came directly from the Siakam trade, and they're very useful for us right now. It's not just Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown, kind of like Utah deal, or like the guys we got in that deal, which was a Jordan Wara. Yeah, in some ways it's like Wait, Kelly Olynyk came from Utah. It's like Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, and then the draft picks, the 4 first-round draft picks for Siakam. Those are all involved in different things. And they, to suss out exactly what we got for Siakam is complicated. It's not as easy as saying, oh, OG, we got these 2 guys for these 2 guys with OG and Precious, So it's kind of interesting. I think that it's funny. The fan nations just want to have some sort of thing to brag over other people, and their perception is going to be their perception. They're going to say, "Oh, we fleeced you. We fleeced you." For a while we were saying that we fleeced New York by getting RJ and Emmanuel, both of them, and people were actually believing it. Now Knicks fans are saying they fleeced us. I don't know. OG would say fleece scarves. That's what he would say. Fleece scarves. Let's see. Trevor J. This is Cool Cat saying this. I want a shootout vibe for the half of the WNBA season, then make trades for a defense later on. That's the strategy. Hope it works. The weird thing is about our league, Cool Cat, because the waiver wire pool is so shallow. There really aren't hardly any quality players on the waiver wire. The way for you to improve your team is going to be having to be proposing trades. That we're going to have to put out trades. If you really want to make something different about your team, you're going to have to put out trades and hope that somebody may bite on some of the ones that you have for your ideas. So I would highly encourage anybody in our WNBA fantasy league to maybe propose some trades and see what may be possible. If you do find that you have some sort of lack of something on your team when we get into the season and you need to make some changes, that may be the only best avenue is to trade, because the waiver wire add-ons are not going to be there this year. It's very the bottom of the barrel. Very much the bottom of the barrel. There's not very much on the waiver wire. You can go look at it, and you'll see what I'm saying. Seriously. It's crazy. Let's see. Fiercey saying, you're right, Lex. Boston seems lost. They now have to score differently as their threes aren't hitting. The Knicks are way stronger and effective in the paint and don't rely heavily on threes. That's what happens when you're a one-dimensional team. Sure, y'all can look all fancy and score like crazy in the regular season when the defense ain't really coming to meet you. But when that defense comes to meet you and they're trying real hard to take away that three-point shot and your three-point percentage drops, and all of a sudden your team just completely relies on that. It's one thing if Porzingis was more of a post threat. If you had more post guys on your team, you'd have a different look, but you don't. You're very, very one-dimensional, Boston. And in some ways, people are figured out how to beat you. It's to punch you in the face, put you on the ground, and tell you missed your shot. Yeah, right there. That's it right there. That's right. Let's see. Fiercey saying Hart is a beast on rebounding. Lots of greatness. Josh Hart? Yeah, for his size, he's a very good rebounder. He really is. Kareem is here, our dunk champion. The butt dialer, Kareem Thomas. Cavaliers only has to make one move, and that's to play Tristan. Tristan Kardashian? Yes, the famous Tristan Kardashian. He equates to winning in Cleveland. That's why they won the chip, not LeBron. Oh my gosh, that above statement is true. He's like funny. It's like he's like trying to act like he's the second person and say, this guy's right, but it's him. He's like saying above statement is true, but it's him. That's hilarious, Kareem. You can get a dunk for your shenanigans. Seriously, he's like above statement is true. This guy really knows what he's talking about. It's you, man. You're saying it to yourself. That's hilarious, man. That's the way you get some back yourself up. 87 on the dunk charts for Kareem. That's why he's a dunk champion. He brings the heat to the rim. All right, let's see. Stargate saying the analytics as it relates to the three-point shot is about to change significantly. Just like everything else, analytics evolves. Yeah, there's a really strong anti-analytics movement in the basketball world right now. In fact, they were talking about it all the smoke with Craig Hodges, and certain people just talking about analytics taking over the game. And some of these old heads are like, man, you can't totally do everything on analytics. It's just not realistic. And teams that are doing everything from the computer and the stats and that kind of stuff, in some ways they fail because they're not taking into account real world implications and real world kind of things that analytics have nothing to do with. So yeah, the analytics are weird. They can supplement and help research and figure out things for their teams, but in some ways you shouldn't solely rely on them. Let's just put it that way. And teams that are solely relying on analytics, they'll get burned in the end. Watch. They'll get burned in the end. Stargate saying if the Celtics fail to come out of this series as the premier three-point shooting team and defending champions, you will see a change in off-season's offensive schemes overall as early as next season. Yes, this copycat league is going to look at what's working and what isn't, and they're going to continue to kind of pay attention and go in those directions. Once again, I really like what we're setting up here in Toronto with Darko's offense, the 0.5 offense, move it and get a high percentage shot and be unselfish. Everybody moving around. That's classic basketball. That's winning basketball. That's a winning mentality and a winning kind of system. In some ways, some of the stuff that it fails in the playoffs will be going away from, maybe the 3-point abundance of the Celtics. And if there's a team that does something really, really well in this playoffs that gets them to Larry O'Brien, other teams will copy it. That is exactly right. Exactly right all around by Stargate right there. That's right. Kareem saying, what do you want? What do you want? Hang on. To represent for the ping pong ball. Who do you want to represent for the ping pong balls? And who do you think will actually be there? I say bring back Fred. Why? He's not on our team. If he's sitting there for Rockets. We answered this question, Kareem. We did this already. We said, I made a joke about Masai going into the room and saying, who has the most luck right now in the organization? We'll send you. Some of the people in the chat said we should send somebody of faith, somebody who has a lot of like good faith, like Emmanuel Quickly, that he could bring some luck of God to the place. I don't know. We've answered this question. We went over this yesterday for about 10, 15 minutes. And we're saying lucky. Somebody lucky is who we should send. We'll see. We'll see who it is. Scotty went already. Maybe it'll be somebody like one of our rookies this time. I would guess maybe I'll put my bet that it's going to be Jamal Shed, possibly, because he seems like he's becoming more and more of a focal face to talk to the public and be like a spokesperson for the Raptors in some ways. I can see that. Monique is here. Good morning to the superfan Monique Lawrence. Her birthday is June the 7th. We're going to have a Raptor Freak Hangout at the NBA restaurant for Monique's birthday in the afternoon on a Saturday, June the 7th. So please schedule your schedule. If you want to come down and hang out with Superfan Mo and myself in person, have a nice meal, and celebrate her birthday with her family and friends, it's June the 7th at the NBA restaurant, Queens Quay, downtown Toronto. We will be there. We were there last year. It was fantastic. We're going to do it again. And I hope that more of y'all can come. Seriously, y'all seriously consider coming down there. It's a lot of fun. You get to have a good time during the day. It's down by the water. We can go outside and stay in by the lake and hang out a little bit. And also go inside, have some good food. And who knows, maybe there's a WNBA game or a playoff game or something like that on around that time. We can watch on the TV screen also. So, yeah, good morning to you, Mo. Always a very big pleasure to have you in the chat. James is saying Ingram also played with Zion, who's always injured, not good at taking care of his body. Yeah, he's a bad example of something. What there's a trade rumor coming around that the Pelicans want to trade Zion to Milwaukee for Giannis, and that sounds crazy to me. I think you're going to need more than just Zion Williamson, New Orleans, if you're going to get Giannis from the Bucks. But that's a starting kind of look of like some of the things that are going to be happening this summer. Zion Williamson will be on the move. He's going to go to another team this summer. Watch, he will. James is saying Scotty is a pass first player and Ingram is a scorer, so it's a good pairing. Yeah, and they already understand this, and they are all about it. Scotty's kind of salivating at the idea of being able to feed Brandon and get more assists. I think he's publicly stated that he's really going to enjoy playing for Brandon because he knows he's going to get more assists because he can count it on to make the shots. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this at all. Stargate saying Raptors fans love to compare players, shaking my head. Watch it happen with the draft as well. Speaking of which, you guys realize the Cooper Flag talk has kind of died down. I think part of it is because, they didn't win the championship. They got put out. I think part of it is also that, it's NBA playoffs right now. They're more focal point on basketball people looking at the NBA and not thinking about NCAA. I think that's it. I think that in the March Madness, of course, Cooper Flag's going to be overhyped because he's on the screen and they're going to talk about him and stuff. But yeah, I think that right now the NBA heads and the people that would talk about him normally during the season are too focused on the playoffs. And that's part of it right there. I think that's part of it right there. Most saying it's actually called Osmos. You pronounced it so off. Osmos. It's got a V on the end of it. Osmos. Something like that. I don't care. Mo, I don't give a shit how to pronounce that. I really don't care. Osmos, Bruno Cablico. I don't care. I get names wrong all the time. But Osmos, Shawarma is the one. Osmos. It looked like it had a V at the end of it because of the W. But yeah, it's Shawarma. It's okay. I ate it a lot for a while and I got sick of it. I was eating it too often. And then I was like, oh, I can't eat this all the time anymore. And then I haven't really eaten it since. But maybe I'll go eat it again soon because I thought about it. Part of it is that like the sauce that they have is not good for my diet. I can't eat their tzatziki or whatever sauce that they put on there. It messes me up. But yeah, I'll have to maybe reacquaint myself with the Osmos. Osmos. Mosbos of the boss boss. Now I'm just trolling. I apologize, Monique. Let's see. Blackhawks doing the JYD woof woof woof. That's right. We're gonna have a Share the Love Club for a JYD. Stargate saying I'm not a fan of Osmos. There's a place here in Brandon called Fatouche, and that is my spot for that kind of food. There you go. Well, I would say this: it's always good to support local business. Like, one of the areas, and I should do this as one of the goods, is like home hardware. Home hardware is better to go to, obviously, than Home Depot, which is American. It's kind of better to go to than Rona. Rona's kind of a big corporation. Home hardwares are like locally owned by a family business usually, and they're pretty Canadian. Now, a lot of the products they sell in there may be American products, but if you're buying from Home Hardware, it's like that, right? It's like that. Now, I would say with restaurants, you could go to chains like Osmos and eat there, or you could go to a specialized singular family business Mediterranean cuisine place like Fatouche, and that's better. I say support the small business, not the big franchisees as much as possible. Maybe at some point doing the straight goods on Canadian goods, I'll start just doing specific restaurants that are like that. But yeah, I totally commend Stargate for eating at that other place because it's probably a smaller family-oriented business that needs the help and support more than Osmos. For sure, yeah. Fierce's saying, yes, I'll be there tomorrow for you to analyze my team. All right, Fierce is going to come in, and we're going to do the WNBA fantasy look from Trevor J and G. They can look at that. Yeah, Slug DZ saying AI will be the mark of the beast. It already is, as far as I'm concerned. I've been seeing such stupid stuff on Facebook recently. This is part of the reason why I don't want to be there anymore. Of just AI created images that are so dumb, like wrestling ones and all kinds of stupid stuff. And there's going to be way more fake stuff out there. And I just don't even want to participate. It's like y'all can set up that board game called AI. I'm not going to sit down to the table and pick a player piece and get on the board. I'm not even playing. I'm not going to sit down and play your dumb game. And in some ways, I'm going to be more critical thinking about every image and everything I see and hear going forward. That whether it's like faking Barack Obama's voice to say something, whether it's an image that they make to try and incriminate someone in the news or something like that, that they just make a fake and they fool everybody. That's the thing. With this kind of stuff, they can really pull fast ones. You think the moon landing kind of stuff is weird? They're going to be able to do all kinds of crazy shit with faking stuff because of the technology now. That in some ways it's like, you know what? I don't care. I'm not even going to get involved because I don't even care. I'm not even going to give you the opportunity to fake me because I'm just like, you know what? This is a fake world we're going to live in soon. And in some ways, I'm not going to believe anything that I see or hear at this point, unless it's for real and I can see it and I can tell it's real. Because, man, this stuff is going to be coming out fast and furious, and in some ways, it's not going to be good for the world. And I agree with Slug DZ. In some ways, this may be the mark of the beast. Seriously, like this kind of stuff, man. Monique saying the season may be over now, but in real life, it appears Mo Pete's still working with OVO. I think that clip is old. I think that he did an ad campaign for OVO at the beginning when he came with his dreads, and he did the apparel shoot. Like he was shooting pictures for OVO with the jacket and the shirt and different stuff like that. And I think that clip that you posted it on your Instagram stories is something that he said at the beginning of the year. I don't think this is recent, that Mo Pete clip that you got right there. I think it's something that they did at the beginning of the year. Stargate saying the Knicks are doing a great job at marketing. I must say that everybody is on this Bronson burner thing, even here in Toronto. Brunson burner. I didn't hear about this. I guess I'm not on it. I'm so out of the loop. I'm uncool. I don't know. There's some sort of LeBron James song on TikTok too that everybody's talking about and stuff. And I'm like, this is stupid. Like, seriously? What is this LeBron James song? It's like, I don't know. It's like a TikTok phenomena or something like that. I'm not with these fads, this dumb stuff. Brunson burner? What is that? Who cares? Who cares? Bing, 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 bong, bing, bong. It's just that bullshit. It's just more bing, bong bullshit is what it is there. Bing, bong. And Fierce's saying, not Cavaliers. She likes that. She likes that. You know what? For her laughing at Kareem's joke, I'm going to give Fiercey a dunk just for like being happy about the Cavaliers. 45. Davion Mitchell there. You got a 45 right there. Boom goes the dynamite. That's right. Mo Pete working with OVO. Yep. He's been an OVO model for their gear. That's what it is. Yeah. Blackhawks saying, love it, Mo. Mo Pete was a great player. Yeah. Morris is awesome. He has the same birthday as me, eh? Like we have our birthday's the same day in August. Blackhawks saying Jacoby so represent us for the lottery ball. You think that Jacoby will be there? Jacoby Walter with his fresh cut, his nice shorn hair, no hair there. He's going to be Jacoby. Could be. You know, God is great. Jacoby bring that God effect. Watch. Cool Cat saying, I'm hoping I can make June the 7th. I have not been to that sports restaurant as of yet. We would love this, Cool Cat. We've had quite a few hangouts over the years, and you have not been able to come yet. And we would love to meet you in person and be able to have a nice meal with you and just sit down and hang out with Monique and her mom and everybody else who's coming. I think Adriana will probably come down for this. Maybe, hopefully, Adriana will be there. We'll see. We'll get a good crew of Raptor Freaks there. And as many as possible would be awesome. I would love to meet you, Cool Cat. That would be so fun to put a voice and a face to Cool Cat in the chat. That'd be so cool. Blackhawks saying Cooper Flagg is the clear #1 pick. There's not much more to say unless you focus on the skills he needs to improve on. There is more conversation around 3 to 12. Yeah, I guess it's a moot point that he's going to be picked first. And yeah, I think that once again, it's just the hype of the tournament's over. They have a national champion, and now it's NBA playoff time. So the focus has gone somewhere else. But yeah, you know, the combine stuff, you know, the draft stuff is coming up too. And there will be more hype again leading up to the draft, obviously. Well, it'll come back around. Let's take this break and enjoy it. That's what I'll say about it. Yeah. Kareem saying, taking my mom and wife to Denny's for Mother's Day breakfast. This place just keeps wanting my money. Is it Canadian? It is not. Denny's is American if my memory serves right. Not only that, Denny's, I'm going to say this, and y'all may not realize this about Denny's. Denny's has been very racist in the past. You know, the Denny's in Tallahassee had all kinds of problems. They wouldn't serve black people at a certain time or something like that. There was a controversy in Tallahassee at our Denny's on Tennessee Street. There were some racist people working there, and they wouldn't allow black people to come in and eat at a certain point. And this is in like the 90s, y'all. It's crazy. So there was a Denny's boycott in Tallahassee by Florida A&M students. Like a lot of the students that went to at FAMU were like, we're not eating at Denny's anymore because they're racist ass motherfuckers. And they stopped going. I mean, that's part of the history I have with Denny's that I know from down south is that there was a boycott of Denny's for being racist in Tallahassee for a while. Just so you know. It's definitely an American company. And in some ways, there's been allegations to racism within the company at different points, just so y'all know. Just so y'all know. Wayne's saying, take care of your stomach, Lex. We're Virgos, and our weakness is our stomach. No compromise on our food intake. I'm trying, and I'm a little bit in trouble because yesterday, my parents showed up from Georgia, and they're back out here with me staying for some of the summer. I love seeing my mom and dad. It's awesome. But my mother has a sweet tooth, and she brings bad food into the house, and I end up eating stuff, and it makes me sick. So I have to be strong against that. Adriana does the same thing to me sometimes. Like she'll have jujubes and candy around the house, and I become a fat kid, and I eat stuff I shouldn't have ate, and I pay for it. So I had a little bit of trouble this week already because I ate something I shouldn't have ate. And you're exactly right, Wayne. I got to be better about this. It's discipline. And in some ways, I have to learn to say no. And just because you're caving in to sweets and things, I can't afford to do that because it will rip me up. And I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to allow it this time. Because last summer, you know, we would do things like we'd be running around and all of a sudden Adriana and my mom would be like, let's go to the get candy at the store. And I'm like, oh, we're stopping. We get a whole bunch of candy. And then we're picking out on candy. And I feel sick for 3 days after that. So I have to be stronger. I'm going to have to be the adult is what's going to be on this. Yeah, I'm going to have to be the adult on this. Most give me the W Stream W Vibes cutoff. Thank you. Yeah, I'm at 7 minutes before 2 hours. I need to finish up. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. I appreciate you, Mo, so much. We're at like 1,350 streams in a row now. Like we're right up there, 1,350, right around there somewhere. And yeah, we'll be at 1,400 soon. And those milestones will keep coming. And well, like you're saying, God willing, I'll keep going. And I'll keep going forever. Like I was saying, Denny's, White Castle were infamous for their unethical ways. Yeah. Yeah, Denny's. Yeah, there's some messed up stuff there. I mean, I could tell you, White Castle. We didn't really have them in Tallahassee, so I didn't really deal with it. Cream saying, "Damn it, Denny's! I was your number one fan. I'll have to switch up plans." No, you should go still. Seriously, if you want to go to Denny's and that's a special place, I don't want to ruin it. It's like Adrienne always says, Lex, you always ruin things for me. Like, why'd you have to tell me that about this person? Now I don't respect them anymore because they're awful. That kind of stuff. I mean, it's up to you. I would say that, the Denny's franchises up here may be run by good Canadian people, and they may have nothing to do with this stuff that I'm talking about from Tallahassee. I'm just saying that was a particularly bad Denny's that was doing some crazy stuff. So, yeah, I would say go. In some ways, it's your thing, man. Denny's, I know we talked about it. You bring it up sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with it. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying, Wayne, that's so true. As a fellow Virgo, I concur. Sensitive stomachs. So that's crazy. So we're all Virgos. Wow. Well, I found that I actually do gravitate to having a lot of friends that are Virgos. Like in real life, like throughout my life, some of my closest friends were also Virgos. So it's interesting that you guys are both Virgos too. Very interesting. Yeah, health as well. There you go, Slug Deezy. And on that note, Slug Deezy has been moving up the ranks on the classic card points. And not only that, Stargate, you jumped up a little bit too recently. The trivia the other day, some people jumped up, and now Slug Deezy's in second. He is in second on the trivia, and somebody just jumped over Amit the Goat into fifth. So we've got a new top five. So you guys are doing really, really good and coming up the ranks. So, all right, here's the classic card for today. Full name answer, please, and get it quick because it might be fast on this one. Here we go. Here is the classic card. Get it fast while you can. Tell me who this player is on the classic card. It's shiny. It's a little bit kind of confusing, but not really. Yeah, D'Angelo Russell. Seymour's on it. That's right. That is D'Angelo Russell. He spelled it correctly with the D apostrophe Russell. That's right. Fiercey's just behind. But yeah, that's D'Angelo on the Timberwolves. At some point, he was on the Timberwolves. He went back and forth between the Timberwolves and the Lakers a couple times there, and then also with the Nets too. But yeah, D'Angelo Russell. We'll give you. I don't know. It seems like an easy card. I'm going to give you a 50 point for that. That was Seymour Pape. Actually, you know what? It's Seymour. I'm going to give him 100. I'll give him 100. D'Angelo Russell was the classic card of the day. And we're going to put it for Seymour Pape. And you got 100. 100 for it. Just ahead of Fiercey. Boom goes the dynamite. All right, let's see. What else do I have in my tabs? Good job, Timberwolves, blowing out the Warriors by over 20. Fantastic stuff. Good job, Julius. Good job, Nickel. Really proud of Nickel Alexander. Referees for today's game, Cleveland at Indiana, Mark Davis, Josh Tiven, and Bill Kennedy. They all favor the Pacers at home. The Oklahoma City-Denver game, James Capers Jr. is the crew chief. He favors the Thunder. And then Ben Taylor and Ray Acosta, the other two refs, they favor the Nuggets, just so y'all know. Let's see. What else? Let's see. I don't think there's anything that interesting on Blue Skies. Let me just take a look for a second. There's just too much politics on here. I'm following too much politics and not enough Raptors. That's what it is. Yeah, I got to figure out how I'm going to curate that stream better. All right, let's see what Raptors Reddit's saying. Let's see. Where is Fred? You should start so Lowry thick booty can be a model video. I can't find it anywhere. Okay, this is this is something that Fred said a long time ago. This is right around, actually, this is when I met Fred, guys. This is the night I met Fred. Holy crap, because I think he's at the barbershop, and that he was filming a commercial in Kensington, and that's why I met Fred. He was standing across the street from my house. I was just sitting out on my porch at like midnight on a Sunday night, and nobody knew it was Fred because he's regular average size. And I saw him and I walked up to him, and he was totally okay with me just walking up to him out of the blue. I said, "Hey, Fred, I'm a huge Raptors fan. I just want to talk to you for a sec." And he was not like a jerk. He totally listened to me, and he was like a very nice guy to me. That's why everything Panzer said about Fred, I was like, he's full of shit. Fred's a really nice guy. And I met him in person in real life on the street in an environment where he could have just told me to fuck off, and he did not. He did not. So just so y'all know, they're saying happy birthday to Garrett Temple on there. And they're making fun of the Pelicans guy who wrote the article about how they fleeced us with the Brandon Ingram trade. This is what Raptors Reddit's saying about that guy. Give me a huff of that grade A copium. It's so funny, man. And some guy got a turtle from his girlfriend, and they named it Emmanuel Quickly. That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. Okay, let's keep going. Happy birthday, guys, to the coach of the Sacramento Kings, Doug Christie. Doug Christie has turned 55 years old today, guys. Doug Christie is the full-time head coach of the Sacramento Kings now. He got that interim taken away, and he is now going to be the full-time coach next year. So happy birthday, Coach Christie, coach of the Sacramento Kings. It's Doug's 55th birthday today. So happy birthday to Doug Christie. That's the birthday for today. Let's see. Is there anything else I got to do? Discord? Nothing there. All right, guys. I appreciate everybody. We're going to get done right on time. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Monique saying we are in good hands. Raptors Nation. I totally agree. That's right. Don't look to the past so much, Raptors fans. Let's look to the future. Seymour saying Rockford, Illinois is no joke. It's just outside of Chicago. Yeah, it's a rough place. It's a rough place. I mean, Freddie's father was killed, right? You know, and it's a tough life, man. Stargate saying, where in Georgia do your parents live, Lex? I'm down in Savannah often, Pooler to be exact. They live in Atlanta. They live in downtown Atlanta in the big city. That's right. They live right downtown. Trevor saying, I love seeing Raptors potential draft pick big man working out. Yeah. Yeah, I want to see that. I want to see a common Malawach maybe. And Blackhawk saying Fred VanVleet handled himself very well on the podium after Game 7. Hope his contract gets picked up. Well, that'd be the folly and the mistake of the Houston Rockets if they do not keep Fred there. Seriously, that'd be their own damn fault. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and join the channel. If you feel like it, you join. You get access to the Discord server and the Facebook group run by Superfan Monique Lawrence. And I appreciate everybody for being here tomorrow. We'll share the love for JYD tomorrow.